Welcome to another episode of Studio B Sessions with me, Bindra, on our Bindra Productions here in Orlando. And just like every other episode this season, we got Mario on the producer table. Say hi, Mario.
Hey guys, how are you today? Welcome
And
for our next episode.
good. Look, the most viewed episode guest is back from season 1, David Morefield. David, thank you for coming.
Yeah, man, you already changed everything.
Yeah, I know, right? It's the same.
That wasn't long.
Technically, the lighting is the same, right? But yeah, we did change everything. This is what I wanted to do. If that doesn't tell you, this was the intention. But then that podcast was kind of just thrown together.
Well, I do like how you were like, I want to do a podcast, and then you're like, all right, I'm already done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you can do things that fast, and then you got the basis for. But I wanted to do this, which is a very, very cool setup,
right? And this was the intention. We finally have achieved it, and like I said, I want to thank Mario so much for helping me this season because it takes, I can't do everything, right? Last season was just one camera, me recording, doing ATEM, everything at the same time while managing a conversation. Guests were awkwardly close, because of the angle that we had to have. So I feel like this is more relaxed. This is, and the whole point of this is just unfiltered, raw conversations. Not unedited, from real industry professionals that make a living doing this, instead of, I don't know, some brand shills or whatever.
Yeah, I like the couches. I would like to have an L couch in my life, and so I'm scanning the couch.
Look at that. No, it's pretty fun. The amount of people have come. Obviously, this blue one was a new addition, but we've had, that couch. And the amount of people that have come in and the conversations we've had, the monies that's been made is crazy. Talk about that. We just made a YouTube video about showing the studio before and after. That was done before this new change. But that's literally what I was saying in there. It's like the what's this given me is not like you think, oh, you're doing a lot of shoots here or whatever. No, it's given me access to A, somewhere to prep the equipment, and B, even though we did do a couple shoots, but mostly be able to have friends over, be able to have other industry people over, and we can have these conversations where we can talk about projects. We can just transfer data, or we can just chat or catch up, and it's led to other opportunities that wouldn't have happened otherwise.
Yeah, you're making an environment that has the option for an opportunity to randomly pop up. And like I get that request so much where people hit me up and say, hey, I'm new in a town, or I just started, or I'm whatever. Let me know if I can jump on one of your shoots for free, paid, whatever. And I just don't have those options to provide for people. Like I don't have it.
Yeah.
And I also don't have that many of them. But I asked them, well, what are you doing? Like, are you making anything? Are you creating anything where there's an option where maybe you could bring someone else in? And a lot of them say no. And it's like, well, from my little experience with vlogging, it's created a bunch of opportunities like that I didn't foresee. So as long as I'm creating something myself, you're creating this podcast, I'm creating my vlogs, the people who are reaching out to me, you have to have something going too.
Yeah.
Like it can't snowball unless you start something, even if it's just super small and minimal.
Exactly. No, you have to put in the effort for it to go somewhere. And like I say, your vlogs inspire me. That's essentially how we met. And funny enough, even though I know Cranky Cameraman's been doing this longer than you have, I found out him because you told me about him, right? And you showed him on his channel, and you mentioned it on the meetups. And I watch these people. I'm like, this is the type of content I want to watch. YouTube is a great platform as long as you know the people that are producing the content that you want to watch. And for me, it was like, sure, I'll watch a Gerald Undone video when I want to know a certain camera, like just bought the Ronin 8K. I was like, okay, I want to know what's the dynamic range. Quick scan episode, great, but it's not where I go to look for what's happening every day, because we make our living making video, right? That's where I want to listen to people like you and Cranky Cameraman and other people. I think Tommy Beal was one that you were sharing, and so people like that. I know he's not doing YouTube as anymore, or as much anymore. So it was kind of like that. So and that's what I love about YouTube is you can see these again, people who are in the field doing it day in, day out. and what they learn from it, like your rant series about the client, the client from hell,
Yeah.
or the whole Sony fiasco, right? You would think that'd be boring content, but that's amazing and very interesting for people who are in the weeds
Those actually
with this
do
equipment. Yeah,
very well, and it is surprising because
Yeah.
I'm passionately talking to my camera with no one around, and I'm like, but that's his tone and the way that email was sent. Like, no, and I'm nerding out about it
Yeah.
and enjoying it. And it is very surprising when I see a bunch of other people who are now, oh, what happened next? What happened
Yeah.
in part 2? What happened in part 3?
because they're intrigued, right?
Yeah.
They're hooked to the story.
And that has
Yeah.
helped me. I'm not creating full story-driven videos right now.
Mhm.
I've created a short documentary. It was very fun. Made a couple festival runs. But doing the YouTube videos has taught me so much more about
Mhm.
storylines.
Mhm.
Like how to bring people in, how to set up something later. You know, one of my personal faults is in normal conversation, I give too much context
Yeah.
and I'm losing the person. I need to get to the point.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, you have to get to the point.
Yeah.
So it's been very nice to like learn how to tell stories, even if they're not, a narrative. It's like a narrative film, or it's just very bite-sized storytelling,
Mhm.
which is fun.
Yeah, and I like you said, it's what to me what's amazing is, again, it's that raw, unfiltered feeling to it, because it's you with your phone editing on your phone. We know it's real. This is
Right.
this is it, and that's what I'm saying. First I found out. I know we talked about this last season. I was looking for somebody, and you had shared one of your videos, and I watched it, and I was just watching it anyway. After I was done, I was like, okay, he knows how to use a C70. That was, I think, my initial look.
Mm.
But then I watched your video, and I was like, this is fun to see somebody going to a conference and how you're setting up, how you're figuring out solutions, even though you do this on a daily basis, and so do, like other people who are, let's say, shooting conferences. Being able to know that your thought process, I don't know, is good for me as a professional, like seeing, oh, that's how he thinks, that's how he's approaching a problem. But then for clients, if they end up on your videos, because I know I worked for a client who, I think you passed to Adam, who told us, because we were talking one day, we are like, how did you find? And then he's like, oh no, because I was looking for C70 operator in Orlando or something, and you came up, and then he was like, oh, he must know what he's doing because he's doing it, right? So you're showing people what you're doing, and then you were like not available, so like, Adam, why don't you go get that? And then that one time Adam needed an extra person, and hey, Ripple, why don't you jump in, right? It's like your vlog led to opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and that was just you demonstrating what you were going to do anyway.
Yeah, I would like to actually quantify the amount of income generated from my vlog, because I would almost think it's like close to 1 million.
Probably, yeah.
Because I have my income, which was going to happen. Actually, not regardless. A lot of it happened because of the vlog. And then I meet you, and then you have your own clients where you need contractors. Adam has clients where he brings you in, and then I started the chat in Instagram. The amount of jobs being thrown around in there, contracts being taken. I can't do this. Can you do this? Does anybody know anyone in Milwaukee? Yeah, I know a guy. And then I have the Orlando chat. I have the San Francisco chat, the Dallas chat. It's easily 1 million.
Easily. If not more.
And it's not because of me,
Yeah.
but it's intertwined in this web of money got passed around because of personal connections.
And it's also things you wouldn't even think about. Like, for example, other people who bought their networks into your network. So, for example, when we did the meetup together, where I did the Kia Center, right?
Yeah.
I brought in my network, so people like Alex Miner, Ben, Quentin, all those were not in your network. But when they came in, right, I just invited them to a cool meetup, and then years later, now I'm talking to someone who's like, hey, I'm talking to this person. It's like, oh yeah, I worked with that guy because on the group.
Yeah.
So they were able to tap into your network and also find other people from maybe your side network or somebody else who brought them to that networking event. Point is, the cross connections that are happening, where people I may have known and you may have known, and now they're not interacting with us directly. They're in
Yes.
just just having a collaboration, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which is what you want to happen, right?
Yeah. All these other opportunities start popping off outside of your effort now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not even connecting people anymore. The people I connected are connecting others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool for me to see because I'm like, you know, there's times where people come to the meetups and they're like, who are you? I don't know you. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Like if you don't know me, you're not here because of a YouTube vlog.
Yeah,
you're here because someone connected you to someone
Mm-hmm.
else and you heard about this and like, that's great. One thing, and I'm really glad you had me here because it's like a million things I want to talk about. We'll try to get to
as much as we can.
As much as we can. But one of them, I was talking to Tommy Beal the other day, and his stories is so cool of how he used YouTube as a way to increase his network when he went to a new location, a new market. I think he went from like Mississippi to San Francisco, and he's like, I have no connections. I have, you know, I'm starting at scratch. Like that's tough when you have a wife and an infant. So I was like, wow, there's a lot more stakes on your plate than for me. He has to get the ball rolling extremely fast. And he started vlogging. And honestly, I think he's one of the best vloggers, but he got out of it what he needed to. He was able to establish a network, connect himself with others, have other people connect around him, show his level of competence. And he kind of was like, now the vlogging is a very big time commitment that I don't have because I'm working so much.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly. And he got what he wanted. And to be real, those connections were made because of vlogging. But I do like how he broke down where it was like in person versus vlogging.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I was just like said with Adam for a few days, and he was telling me how he's doing a project where he tapped me into going to Missouri with him. But then he tapped into Tommy Beal to do the San Francisco element with him. You know what I mean? It's like all these connections. So everyone's getting work because of, you know, him starting to vlog and you starting to vlog, then you guys connecting and you connecting Adam to him because of your event. I think your networking event you did in San Francisco, right, in the Bay Area. So essentially, you know, it's a spider web rather of web that grows from making just that initial investment into. I don't know, trying to share your story, right? And I don't want to diminish what you do because there is a lot more to making a good YouTube video. But what I'm saying is it has to start with the intention of let me do it and then doing it. And then you can improve over time. I feel like more and more people should share their story or what they're doing.
I enjoy it because it's fun for me to have an idea that comes in my head, either if it's right in front of me or if it's something that I'm thinking of and I can film it right then. And then I like preserve that thought, right? I filmed it, I talked about it. And then when I need to edit, I'm like, oh yeah, that was that thought. Okay, throw it in there. Someone else might think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But I wanted to maybe pivot a little bit because you have a ton of nice gear here. So when I was talking to Tommy this week, he was renting a very nice Fujinon Cabrio 1990 Cine Zoom, and he has the Fujinon MK zooms, the 17 to
the
55,
Super 35
yes,
there,
and then the 50 to 135, somewhere around there. And I was like, man, I really like how I always feel like I see you with premium gear. Like when he moved out there, he got the FX9. Which is a very, very capable camera, higher level than the FX6, FX3s. You know, it's for people who are in this level of production. You know, you might need multiple SDIs. You might need a little bit extra with that you don't need.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. It's heavier, bigger, more power hungry. And then he had the Cine Zooms, which just look beautiful. They're nice to operate. No autofocus. You know, like he's making a lot of decisions that are like, it may be a little harder, but kind of these are all considered higher tier options. And then he has a Sachtler Flowtech tripod. You have a couple here. I finally joined the club.
I saw that.
I got the right handles.
Finally, you spent some money on sticks. Talk about sticks. I just bought another stick. Funny enough, I have two Sachtlers, but I just added the Tribex from small rig and
The
potato
little-
jet, the handle one. Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah.
And then I told him, I was like, man, I feel like you always have premium gear, and I really like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, that's by design. I want to be associated with those things. I want to be synonymous with that tier of production because I get that tier of network. I get everything is at that level. And this is nothing new,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a light bulb moment where I was like, oh man, like I am normally looking for justification in I don't need to get that when I could get this.
Mhm.
Like I don't need to get this if I could get this. I can get the same results,
Yeah.
you know. And when I heard him intentionally say I'm spending more money to be
Yeah.
at that level, to be at that kind of have that face
Mm-hmm.
going forward, premium gear, more polished type crews, dedicated roles, you know, I was like, that makes so much sense. What is the negative cost of me going for a lower tier item
Mhm.
that can get the job done just as well? But how does that hurt my branding?
Exactly. No, you've hit the and funny enough, a lot of that is perception because believe it or not, right now you can buy a used, probably not when he bought it, but you can buy a used FX9. If you look for deals, cheaper than a used FX6.
Yeah, they're
because
like
they're discontinued. Yeah,
4,500.
because they're discontinued, and the demand for FX6 is so high because they've been adopted by reality
Yeah.
shows and everything. So you can find and FX9 is being dropped more and more. Outside of broadcast. So essentially, you can find an FX9 cheaper. However, there is obviously negative XQD cards. You need a whole extra recorder. That it's heavier, it's bigger. The image is a greenish tint. Taking all that into account, guess what? It does bring to you perceived higher value. You have a 9 instead of a 6. It looks bigger. It looks, it gets 6K. Right? Those are perceived values and not real values, but it does matter. You're right. You're now connected to a higher tier a network. You can be like you said, you have Flowtechs. You're like, oh, these are the sticks. This is what's used by pretty much. I don't like industry standard for sticks, but they're used heavily by top tier people. So like you said, there is that perceived value. But at least on the stick side, I'm like, hey, at least these nice sticks. Those have a use. Like I love using my Flowtechs because they're good. But like camera. To me, an FX9 would be a bigger challenge for the type of stuff we do than an FX6. But that perceived value may be worth having an FX9.
Yeah.
Because technically his zooms, I think he has other lenses, but like you said, the zooms are technically Super 35. So he's not even getting the full image circle out of his camera if using those lenses.
But he has 4K Super 35,
There you
something
go.
that the FX6 doesn't have. And I just remember he had the Aputure 600 light. And I remember being like, dude, this light is so big.
Yeah.
It's taking up all the space in your trunk.
Yeah.
Don't you know there's so many other options where you could go smaller, have the same amount of output? But then when I just did a job recently in Nashville, and I was working with a photographer. I was video, photographer was local. And we connected over the phone, and he was like, yeah, do you need me to bring some lighting? Like I do video as well.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, sure. Like, what do you have? And he's like, I have a couple 600s. I have this, that. And I was like, it's so nice just to hear, like these kind of industry standards, little like, it's this.
Yeah.
There's not like, oh, it's this obscure company that just started 3 years ago and they have one option, but it's 500 watts, but only for an hour and then it overheats.
Yeah.
It's just nice to say, I have this level, and we all know what that level is.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of like Aputure lights. Now, to be real, they were the fringe company 5-7 years ago, where it was like Godox, Xeon. So you never know. Today's some fringe company may become standard, but currently, the shoot that we did at Full Sail, I was surprised. I'm not kidding. Every single light in there was Aputure. From cobs to panels to spotlights. And here's the thing you have to think about. All these next generation filmmakers that are stunning at a Full Sail, guess what they're going to end up using? Aputure. So it's become the standard. So for me as a business owner, why do I own majority of my lights, or if not all, are Aputure, is because it's easier for me to say to any other filmmaker like, oh yeah, we got a 1200X, 600X, 600Ds here, they know how they set up, how they need to attach a modifier,
Right.
how to. So it makes there's no training involved because if not my set, they've used it on 10 other sets. So versus if I have some, unique light to me, then I have to like show them like, yeah, this has a mini Bowens. You got to attach an adapter. You got sure, it's not that big of a deal if you're using it, but it adds that few extra seconds to training somebody on set, and then like efficiency, it adds up. Every little thing adds up to make you inefficient on set.
Yeah, and that's an interesting business decision, because now that I'm a business, I always look at how other businesses run their business. So let's take Aputure, for example. They started out with low entry type of units, right? And then they built up the technology, and then made bigger fixtures, and are now trying to replace the typical Hollywood setups of much more powerful lights. But it's taking them a while to get up that product line. But what's happening is their customers are graduating up that product line.
There you go.
And they are able to start them at the beginning of their career, back when there was a 120D tungsten, like Aputure 120T. They used to have those. And then they offer the Lightstorm series, whatever it is. And then they offer the Amaran product line, and everybody can grow up as they increase their product lines. And you look at the other side of like the industry standard brands who are only doing massive lighting, they're only serving the people at the top.
Yeah.
And now those people are aging out.
Yeah.
And the people coming up are like, well, we have Aputure 1200s now. We have, what is the new one?
The 1200X and
no, there's a even more powerful one that they just put
the
out.
XT52?
Yes.
Yeah,
whatever equivalent that is to the old fixture. They're eventually just going to be like, we all know how to use these.
Yeah.
And
it works the same. Yeah. What's crazy to me is a 5200 watt light that a person can lift. It's have you used it, by the way? Talk about innovation. You got to see the 1200X. I love the Pro lock. It's like a PL mount essentially. So my biggest thing I hated with lights, with Bowens mount, I love because it's universal. But the issue is a lot of times if you want to change a dome on a light or whatever, especially with the bigger domes, you have to take the head down because it's really hard to take it off. Versus with the 1200X and even the ADCs that I added to the kit of the 1000C or the XT52, they have something called a Pro Lock mount, which is essentially like a PL mount. You just spin it, and the modifier just comes out, and it's such a time saver. Now I'm like, oh, you're telling me I can actually swap out a modifier without having to take the head down? And it's these little things. I'm sure it'll eventually come to the 600 watt lights. So the innovation that's happening in something as simple as lighting or the color quality. You throw a Spectrum in front of this new 1200X with their Blair engine, which is just RGB ACL, versus you do that in, I don't know, these 600Xs, it's just a massive difference in light quality to go from one generation. It's not like they've discontinued the 600X we're using here, but the new ones are just so much better. It's just like you said, I can graduate. I'm like, oh, I can go higher tier. I can get this better product. And also, this is kind of a lesson in what happens if you don't innovate. Like if I remember correctly, 10 years ago, I couldn't go to a single set without having Kino flows on set. That was the standard, right? Who has Kino flows? I don't even know if the brand even exists because I haven't looked at Kino flows. I know they were doing some stuff with LED, but it was just like kind of like Kino flow, who, right? It's just kind of disappeared.
Transporting those, the brake, and you have to have the big case.
Yeah, and then the barn doors. You had to gel them. Yeah, they were hot. It's come a long way. Is what I'm saying. And that's one of the examples of where it's like if they didn't innovate fast enough or innovate to where the industry is going, then you kind of are lost in time. Essentially.
Yeah. So I mean, I also play the other side of the argument where the first side was if you get premium gear, it's kind of a signal to everybody you're working with, the level that you're hopefully at.
Yeah.
You're not just buying a bunch of expensive gear you don't know how to use. But it does get to a point where I'm like, does everything need to be premium and expensive? Because that's a lot of money. And, maybe I could go a little lower here and offset that and try to save costs because I can achieve the same result with some of the cheaper gear.
Exactly.
So it's it's now very interesting for me to kind of pick and choose which items I want to go premium with. Some of them are a much better user experience. If like the higher price product, a lot of times can be a much better experience because you're paying for a lot of a lot of the conveniences. But on the other side, there's other things where this isn't really a client facing product. No one's really gonna see this. And it does the same thing. So it's a battle of how much do I want to put in for the visual marketing of myself, and then how much for workflow, how much do I keep for costs? I like profit.
Yeah.
Do I have to spend all the
those
money?
I mean, hey, it depends on what your rules are. But I do like running. The way you run it, it's got to be lean because you're right. There is a lot of expenses, and which I guess you don't have to worry about if you're not a production company. But for example, like last year when I upgraded my storage system, that was a huge cost. It was like almost 10 grand. So to justify, as a business owner, you have to go like, I'm justifying 10 grand for something that no client of mine will ever see. They have no idea that exists, how much money we're spending on it. And but it's a cost. It's a cost that I have to do because it's like, hey, we generate terabytes of data every other day. We need to store it somewhere. We need to be able to edit off of it. We need 10 gig.
Yeah.
So Julie can work on it. The point is, but then when you spend it, it hurts. I was like, how much marketing? How much more could I do with this money on the front end? But I need to spend this because without this, we can't do what we need to do as the work goes. So there's a lot of these type of expenses where I always go, why am I spending this? Do I really want to spend it? Is it justified? So I have to think 10 times about spending it because it can be sometimes huge amount of money so nobody will ever see. And talk about going back a little to gear, same thing. Most of my projects where gear matters is helping other production companies or other filmmakers where they're like, hey, can you bring a FX6 or can you bring a 1200X or I need a dolly or whatever, right? Those are where we even talk about gears. My highest paid clients do not ever mention any gear or any level of gear. Do not care if we have Sachlers or if we have FX6s or if we have FX3s or REs or whatever. My typical clients, and I'm talking clients that pay 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand per project. These type of clients have never in once said, funny enough, the only camera brand I've heard named by them is GoPro. Because that's the one they know. Like, are you gonna bring a bunch of GoPros? It's like, no.
Yeah.
But you get my idea. Like, they don't know camera brands. They don't know, or the word
End
DSLR.
clients.
Yeah,
End clients.
end clients don't know, and that's
Right.
where most of the majority of the income comes from. And so I could bring whatever. Now we, as Binder Productions, that's just my style. We bring the right gear to do the job. So it's not only efficient for us, it's the best for the client. So if the client pays me 50 grand, I'm going to make sure they have the highest quality, latest gen Aputure 1200X light or whatever on the
Because
set.
it's a system you trust and will get you the results
Exactly.
that you
Not
want.
because the client cares. Nothing would stop me from putting, let's say, 2 of the 600Xs, I'm saying on the shoot that are coming up, to light the 8x8. It's the same, let's say, close enough real result. And most indoors, we're lighting these at 1 to 2% anyway nowadays, lights. So it's not like we need the high brightness. It's just the quality, right? But that's the thing I choose, is what I'm saying. Like, the client doesn't make me buy the Sachlers or the latest lights or the latest cameras or whatever. So I'm saying it depends on who you're serving too. If your goal is to go work with end clients, gear may not be the most important factor,
Agreed.
but for yourself, right?
Right.
But now you're trying to fit into other productions. Like, I saw a really cool thing you did with Wall Street Journal, right? That's where gear could matter because they could come and say, hey, we'd like this format. We need MP4. We need MXF. We need it to be 4K. We need it to be FX6 or FX9 or whatever the requirements are, right? The client can lay it down, and then it's up to you how you're going to fulfill it, either directly or renting gear through your friends. But I'm saying that's only typically like where the gear matters, not in clients, and that's where I charge the most, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of people ask, should I get this camera to get more demand, for myself as a freelancer? Typically what I see is workflow demand. We operate off of a S-log workflow. we operate off of a Cinetone workflow or an MP4 workflow. We need to fit that.
Mhm.
And typically it is, the most common request I get is Sony S-Log3 workflow or Cinetone, and just because they're familiar with these terms.
Yeah.
It's not a reflection of how good they are.
Yeah.
It's a workflow. We have everything done this way. Please
Mhm.
don't rock the boat. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. So, you know, when I really want an FX6 Mark II just to have MP4.
Mhm.
That would make a huge difference for some of my lower tier clients
Mhm.
who look at MXF and they can't even preview it without having the Apple Pro formats, you know, update.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, it doesn't work. I'm
Yeah.
like, you got to put it into an NLE. What's an NLE? You know,
Yeah, then you gotta, and so that's the same conversation. So sometimes, if funny enough, the opposite happens. End clients want the raw footage, which
Mhm.
they don't understand the word raw. When they're saying raw, they mean unedited footage.
Right.
But they, like, I have to explain to them, like, hey, we're recording in log, in MXF formats, in the, you know, it's in their highest codec, basically, in our cameras possible. You're not gonna even be able to open these files.
Right.
If you want to pay for this, I don't care. You know, here's a price. Obviously, there's a price to get the raw footage. I can give you a price, but I'm being real with you. You cannot handle these files, so save yourself the
Mhm.
funds, because I don't want to create a negative experience where they get the files and they go, oh, now what do we do with these, right? Because they can't open them, they can't edit them, they can't process them or whatever. Because they're used to, like you said, smaller file sizes, formats like H.264 or 265 that they can handle. So yeah, that can be a factor even with end clients where they want it, but they have no idea that it's
Yeah.
inaccessible. Yeah.
And I really do like being able to choose the gear that works best for
Yeah.
me. Sometimes you do that. One situation that went from you to Adam was, I think Adam hired you to go to DC or something, and you were there, and you had, you know, the shoot had been designed. It's a 3-camera shoot. We're doing this,
Mhm.
this, and this. And then once you're there, this is not your client.
Yeah.
This is Adam's client. And they said, the producer said, kind of something like this,
Yeah.
but I want a camera on me.
Yeah.
And when Adam was telling me this, I was like, oh, like, just bells going off. Is there even another camera to
Yeah.
do this? Do you politely say that's not the scope that was agreed to by my client?
Mhm.
Maybe we don't need this. And so when he was telling me the story, I was like, oh, I cannot wait to hear how Vipul handled this. And he said, Vipul pulled out another camera, which I'm like, I don't even own
Yeah.
that many cameras.
Yeah.
So you pulled it out and said, sure, we're going to put this on you.
Yeah.
So
on a
you're-
side table, because we
on a
had no
side
extra
table.
sticks, you know.
And
so,
and it made them feel good.
Yeah.
They're like, good, I want an angle on me. Full well knowing that angle is not going to get used. The light, I don't even think
No,
you
there was
turned
no
the
light,
lights.
no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it made them feel good.
Exactly. And
That's what they wanted. You didn't even need to put a memory card in there. You know, it doesn't
But we
matter.
did. We did
You
record. We were, because I'm like, hey, you never know, because she
Yeah.
does get emotional or something happens. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, we weren't recording.
Right.
Again, that's not my style. I will not. So, but yeah, you're right. The way to handle that would be like, hey, we can create conflict, or let me pull out my backup cameras, because you always got to have a backup camera. To me, that's what makes me a pro than just any other videographer. Anyway, so I just pulled out a backup camera, but here's how I resolve it. I know the problems in my head. I already know. I have the memory cards obviously in the camera, but I'm saying I don't have sticks. I don't have a V mount
Right.
set up for it. I don't have a lot, because so it may die.
And you could
faster,
voice
yeah.
all this to them.
Yeah,
and
but
they're
they
like, I
wouldn't
don't.
care. Yeah,
Can
they
you
wouldn't
do it or
care.
not?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, hey, and Emmanuel's there helping me. Get second camera assistant, whatever. I was like, hey, can you give me that side table? So it's like, oh, let's get a couple of books. We lined it up and we showed them. We're like, okay, so this camera is for you. These cameras are for them. So we're still rolling how we want to,
Yeah.
but we have this, and we started rolling it. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, we have an angle that they wanted. We are rolling. If we ever get any good footage out of this, but most likely, because I handle running a production company helps, is I can see from the post side. I'm like, there's high likelihood Adam's not using any of this footage, but we have it, and that was just the easiest resolution possible with no conflict.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean, and I know we talked about it last time, but it's like, if that doesn't mean, if they put a request out that we couldn't solve, I wouldn't say no. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
at the end of the day, that wasn't scope of the scope of the project.
Yeah.
But if I can resolve it, I'd rather resolve it than create a conflict. That's why they hire me. Even
Yeah.
though you're right, technically there should be an extra charge for an extra camera, extra lens, more footage, more time to upload. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does add
And it
cost.
rocked the flow of the shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
'cause
we
had
have to
pause,
set
yeah.
up this other thing.
Yeah.
We were ready to go, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But so you saying you always have backup cameras. I mean, first of all, that's just a lot of cameras to have
Yeah.
in general.
Mhm.
And then having backups that you flew there. So
Yeah.
you brought more than
Yeah.
that. Like, it's a lot. It's
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
extra
4
batteries.
cameras, and then it was a lot of stuff to fly with. You're right.
Yeah. But like you said, that's how you do your job.
Yeah.
That's if that was your client, that's how you would have done
Yeah.
it. You
And
were
that's how I treat my
freelancing.
friends. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to Adam, and he was saying that when a end client comes in and says we want to do this, this, and this, he goes, I don't ask them like how many cameras do you want, which would all be questions that I would ask as a freelance camera guy.
Yeah.
Those are the questions I would definitely ask. And he goes, no, I see it differently. I see it as in you tell me the scope, I'll filter it through my brain and then create the scenario of what works best.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, would you like the 1 camera option or the 2 camera option? Because there's just so many times where you get there and they go, can we get another camera up?
Yeah. And they're like,
And you're like, oh, you ordered the 1 camera option. So either I didn't bring the second one, or the second one's going to take some time to put together. To
be real, I wouldn't expect that of you anyway, because you're a freelancer. So if I hired you, David, as a cam op, I'm only expecting you to bring 1 camera because that's what I hired you to do. That is literally the scope of.
But that's what he hired you to do. But you brought extras.
Yeah, but that's just me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and that's what I tell people, do as as I say, not as I do, because you're right. Financially, it's not a viable thing. But remember, I am also just able to justify that expense because I have a production company. I can go charge my client $50,000. But if I'm making $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, it wouldn't make sense to own 5 cameras, for example, right? I don't know. I don't know how you justify that.
Push back a little bit because you were able to save that shoot. You didn't charge for the 4th camera.
Yeah.
You saved Adam from having his client have like, oh, we didn't really like that guy you sent. He didn't give me the 4th camera that we didn't pay for. No, it was a great experience. And then that will make Adam be like, oh, let me just hire him again.
Yeah.
So, I didn't get the extra, whatever, $200 for the 4th camera.
Yeah.
But the like way you get paid back is in future contracts, future connections.
Yeah.
So I can see that side, which is different than what I normally do. I my initial reaction is to go, hey, that wasn't what we agreed to. Maybe we can work something out. I think I need to get approval from you guys if you want to do an additional change in scope. Then it just like kind of muddies the water.
Yeah, and it just creates the negative experience.
Yeah, negative experience. It wastes time. But you are bringing in your experience as a production company, whereas I'm thinking like a freelancer. And I think that it is very good when you can have both sides of the coin in your head.
Yes.
Because you are thinking more long term rather than that line item wasn't on the invoice. I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a little bit better to kind of think cohesively.
Yeah, and see, and that's not my style because I am the premium option. I don't want to be, I would get it if your lower tier option, you're not expected to have it. But talking about the other side of it, I think you have to be reasonable, as in depending on the scope of job. So, for example, I have a bare minimum, like I need to get this to get out of bed, type of thing. And to be real, I think it's very low for what I bring. But the other day, Adam reached out and he's like, "Hey, I may need somebody to babysit a camera, and it's a low rate, but blah blah blah." And then I was like, "So do I need to bring any equipment?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." Would a client have reached out to me? Would I've ever said yes? No. But it's Adam. Like you said, we have that relationship where he's brought me on shoots. I brought him on shoots. So it's like, absolutely, I can make the schedule work. Can I come babysit a camera for you? Absolutely, right? And so I was willing to take a late rate that I haven't taken like in, I don't know, 10 years or
Yeah.
whatever, right? But to be honest, when I was done, at first I was like hesitant. When I showed up, I was like, this was totally worth it. Because I literally spent all day there, maybe fixing a couple of lights, maybe moving the sticks a little bit. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is how my freelancers feel? Because I was
That's
like,
great.
it felt so weird leaving the house with nothing. I even had to text him. I was like, are you sure?
Yeah.
I am bringing nothing. And then it was same thing with Shoot. He was like, still packing up. And I was like, do you need any help? So I helped him, whatever he needed. But he was like, no, you go. And it felt so weird leaving the set
That's
while
great.
people are still, and I was like, what is happening? Is this the life? So I see your perspective. Like there's a dream to it, to the other side where I'm like, sure, the money may not be as good, but I had no expenses.
And
They
your
paid
brain
for
is
food.
empty.
My brain was empty. I was genuinely like, this is a lifestyle. Now, will I take this forever? No, I really love the conflict resolution, the problem solving, all the stuff that comes as a production company. But from time to time, it opened my brain. I was like, hey, if I have days available, I was not keeping myself away from this opportunity. Because even with Adam, I've been the guy, right, who brings the gear, who brings everything.
Yeah.
I literally turned to Adam day 3. I was like, oh, so this is what you do, you lazy son of a-" I was like, oh, so here you go. If you need any other time, let's revisit these rates. I will
Yeah.
come more to, as long as I don't have to bring anything, we can renegotiate. Because I'm like, this is amazing. Yeah.
He will frequently contract me to be the DP, and he'll just bring his gear just because, like, it's just workflow. He knows everything works, everything's in there.
Yeah, I know.
It fits in his Pelican.
I was telling him how did David get the better deal?
Yeah.
How is it you two go? He brings all the gear. How come he and I go and then I bring all the gear? I was
you
like,
have it.
this is not the what do you call the best deal of the century.
No,
Anyway.
I have the better deal for sure. And then we were at the airport, and he's like, going to oversize
Yeah.
check-in and doing that annoying line. And then I got my backpack,
Yeah, and you're
and I'm going, like, holding my backpack, taking a picture like this, and he goes, I know what you're doing. Like, you're taking a photo for your story saying traveling, one backpack, this is all I got. And I was like, yeah, this is great, dude. Like, I appreciate this. And I'm only getting the labor rate. I'm not getting the labor plus gear. But taking out the gear rate, how much I get back?
Yeah, it's
I told you, my brain's empty.
because also remember the prep time, the packing time, the unpacking time, putting it back to where it belongs or whatever. That's a time element that you're saving, and that means either more time with your family or doing things that you love, or more time to work. So there is a benefit. Now, I'm not saying. At least for me, and this is again, it's a good to experience both sides so you can see what you like better. But I'm saying I would hate on anyone who's like, that's the lifestyle. That's why I'm like, I've been paying Mario too much because he's been just coming and helping me a lot. I'm like, oh, so you're telling me you get up and you just show up, or a lot of time I've even been picking him up because he's lucky. I say not lucky, but he just lives a couple minutes from here, so it makes no sense a lot of times to just have him drive here because it's on the way. So I've even been picking. I'm like, so I'm giving you taxi service.
Yeah.
The
have
van
everything.
shows up. Huh?
I go. Yeah, you pick me up for every shoot. So yeah, it's like a premium service.
Freelance thing, and then he gets on. It helps with the van. No, not the kid. No, there's value on my side too because it's like he knows the gear. He's worked with this new setup. He knows where to put everything. So, but I'm just saying the funny side on the other side. I'm like, you're telling me, you get out of your home. There's a van waiting for you. Get in. You get out of the shoot. You do your shoot. You get dropped off at home, and you're done.
There's a lot of times where I'll show up to a gear with earbuds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was only told to bring headphones.
Quite literally.
Everything else, I think I've done that for you.
Yeah, because that's
I've
all
done
I
that for
needed
a lot
you
of
to do. Yeah.
a lot of contracting jobs. Is they're like, the gear will be there. There was even one where I went to a conference in Chicago and I could only take the late flight. And I was filling in for a crew member that had to leave, one man band type of thing. So that guy had to set up the gear for me because there wouldn't be time for when my late flight arrived. And then I walked in with headphones and I just like looked at the lights and I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, perfect life, right? You just
and then I just plugged in my headphones and I was like, name, okay, audio's, yeah, we're ready. I was
like, this is perfect. Yeah. So, and that's why I think this conversation needs to happen so people can hear like it's not just one avenue to pursue this career. There's multiple. So you could do a mix of them. You could pick the lane that you want to be in, and there's very much a way to make a living without owning any gear. Mario, do you own any gear for real? Any cinema camera?
No cinema camera, just hybrid.
Okay, so one hybrid camera, is that all you own?
Yes.
How many shoots have you done for me this year?
For you,
At least for me. I know you've worked with.
for you, maybe 10 already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
that.
he's on the stand. He's like,
Yeah.
no
Oh,
cameras,
no.
Your Honor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. So what I'm saying is that there's an opportunity. You can actually be a freelancer
Yeah.
where you can have no equipment, or let's say very limited equipment, because you don't need it. Production companies or other freelancers or other people may own the equipment. They just
If
need
you
an
invested
operator.
in
Yeah.
your network.
Yes.
If you
have
didn't
to
invest in
network.
your network, you're not working at all, and you're not getting the jobs where all they needed was a simple lighting kit. So it's like you're saying, it's both. You can,
Yeah. But you have to network anyway.
yeah,
right?
you can be the
Yeah.
freelancer with no gear. Like I'll play all of these
Mhm.
roles. Sometimes I'm the freelancer with no gear. Sometimes I'm the freelancer with all the gear and the client's not even showing up. It's just me. And then other times I'm the production company owner who's bringing in crew. I'm doing that next week. It's not my favorite role to be in.
So let's switch to that then. I want to talk about, because the last time we talked, you were doing incredibly well because you had found this amazing retainer client who didn't have high demands as far as gear goes, but they wanted you, right, because of your technical knowledge or whatever. But you were also a production company. So now you're bringing crew, you're helping them with scripting and all the other stuff. Point is, so you kind of saw my side of things where you're like, oh, I got to price this,
Ooh.
correctly. What? I thought you were enjoing it.
I am.
Yeah.
It's
So
very well
is that relationship still ongoing?
Yeah. So we're a year and a half in, and it has. If I wasn't paying attention, I don't think it would be around, because I would have been like, no, this is how we do production.
Mm-hmm.
And this client is in a position where they go, like you said, like a second ago, you said it was because my technical knowledge. It's not that at all. I thought it was that. And it's the vibe. It's you work well with us, and we want that, because we're in Orlando, they're in Palm Beach, 2.5 hour drive, and I take it twice a month for we do travel, work, travel. So that means travel days, gas mileage, hotels, per diems. I'm like, you could find someone in South Florida.
Yeah, because it's technically 4 days of work. It becomes 8 days because of travel.
Yes.
Days, right? Yeah.
So I'm like, in the beginning, I was like, are you working with us just because we're working right now and it's just easier to keep going? Because I know a lot of people in South Florida who could crush this job and not have to pay hotels, and just the obvious answer after months and months of work that I just kept hearing is like, no, we like working with you. Kind of like we could afford other people. We could make it less, make the expenses lower. But we like working with you, and that's what we're prioritizing, because when we work with you, you give the person on camera the comfortability to fully execute. And that is what we want. You're just helping that. So keep it going. Do you have, what availability do you have the next 6 months? Let's start putting those in, penciling those in. So I've never had a retainer. I didn't even want a retainer. I just kind of fell backwards into this one. And the pay has been substantial to do 8 days contracted every single month for 18 months. Like, I've never had this much money before. I'm able to save so much, and it's a great working relationship.
Yeah, and plus now you don't have the desire to, or maybe you do. You could correct me, to then go, I need to buy this, because you already have the client dialed in, right?
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
You know what they want. They know what they expect of you. The at this point, it's so dialed in that I don't. It'll help you probably lower your expenses, because you're like, oh, if you were just a freelancer, you're like, let me buy this, let me buy this, let me buy this. But now you're like, I don't need anything unless you just want it. There's no need, because they're happy with what you have.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Last year I made a video called The Trap.
Yeah.
The Freelancer Trap. And the trap is what so many people fall into, oh, this job could really benefit from this piece of gear, and I could use it on other shoots. All right, let me get that piece of gear. Oh, it's great. And then the same thing happens for the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And you're like, have all this gear that one takes up a lot of room, costs a lot of money. You might not use as much as you thought, but you are thinking, I'm trying to invest in my business. I'm trying to invest in providing the best service possible. And it's really slowing you down financially. You're not even using all this gear. You could have made it work, and I don't think anybody would have noticed if you didn't have that piece of gear. So for this one, I think you'll enjoy this. This was last week for the retainer client. I had my FX6 and my doctor bag. I have it rigged out just the way I want. Pull it out, throw it on my Sachtler. I'm like, this is so great. I achieved like optimum efficiency, great workflow. And it stayed in the bag the entire shoot. We shot everything on this with mics, like little Wi-Fi mics. And I was like, I didn't even like touch that camera. It's a very specific client. They're creating Facebook ads. So a lot of times they want to lean into the UGC side. They want it to look less professional. So, you know, it's a very different than the situation I gave earlier, like with Tommy Beal, who's in more complex, higher level shoots where that gear is needed. For this specific client, they want to go through the path of least resistance, and sometimes they intentionally want to degrade the quality of the footage to get more authenticity when they make their Facebook ad. So for me, that's led me down this rabbit hole of like different social media mics and Hollyland LARC M2S whatever with the clip-on.
Yeah, I got the Max 2s now. They have a new version. They're always come out with new stuff.
Yeah, and then like I have like 4 cheap mics. Like I have the DJI mic 2s, the Hollyland, what is it?
They have the M2, the M2S, and now Mark.
Okay, M2S, and then I also got these like super cheap Amazon clunker mics that are have 4 transmitters into 1 receiver that can plug into a phone, and then I have the higher quality Sony UWP system, which I thought I was going to use all the time. Right?
Thanks
I don't remember the last time I used it. No. But they all serve a purpose for this. So, kind of all in all to say is like you were saying, I found my workflow. I definitely found my workflow, and it was not what I thought. Yeah, that was going to be.
And I mean, the good thing is you still have it though. You can still plug into other productions. It's not like you've 8 days committed. That does not mean there's 22 days in the month that you can't go work other jobs, which you are. And that's, to me, see, the way there's 2 ways to look at this, right? Because having talked to you enough, I know what you don't want to be booked, right? You want to be available to take all the opportunities. But there's 2 ways you can look at it. Hey, I have 30 days available to fill in the calendar, but I have the uncertainty of, will I have enough money, or what do I need to buy, or all this other uncertainties. But here now you have 8 days are booked roughly per month, but now you have 22 days of freedom where you're like, you have no worries. As in, like, if you don't take a job, you can say no if you don't want to. You only take the jobs that you want to because you really want to, right? And I to me, that's the ultimate freedom. It's better than a 9 to 5. It's still kind of like a job, but it's like, I don't know, the best kind, because you're only committing 8 days.
A specific situation that relates to that. Last week, I had a contact, and whenever this guy calls, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be something big. Like he does very big projects with UFC fighters, and I was lucky enough to get onto one of his docu-series shoots as like camera 6. Like I was like way down the line, the last one. And but I know whenever he calls, it's going to be some really cool access, very cool project. And he called and said, we're doing a feature-length doc. This fighter is going to fight in the UFC this weekend on Saturday. And then on Sunday, someone needs to receive him when he flies into his airport in Miami or wherever down south. And we need to get that scene of him coming in, and then he's going to like see his daughter, or like his newborn daughter. And I was like, oh, geez. Like that. This sounds really intense.
And
like
you have
really
one
cool.
chance to get it, right? Yeah, seems like
right.
Yeah,
never met this person. Like you gotta be on your P's and Q's to be able to jump into that highly emotional situation, not fumble around, and you know, is pretty interesting. And I had a point to this story. So, fighter lost.
You're good. So you were able to jump in. Were you able to jump into this one, or did you have to say no?
Got it.
Because I know that's where we're going
Picked it
towards.
up.
Yeah.
So thank you. So, I had a flight the next morning to leave Florida at like 9 a.m. And I knew this shoot. He flew in at 6 p.m. the night before, and it's in
Yeah.
Miami, 3.5 hours away. I was like, I'm gonna get home at like 3 a.m. and then have to be at the airport at 5. Like, this is just gonna be way too insane. And the guy was like, nope, that's fine. We're sending our other guy over who also had a crazy schedule.
Yeah.
Sometimes the sleep schedules in this industry are insane.
Exactly. Tell me about it. Like I did the last few podcasts was only a couple hours of sleep because that's what you could do. I would go into this gig and then, prepping for this and that, it's just,
And so I was like, hey, like the producer was like, hey, I don't think this is going to be the right fit. And I was like, I agree. It's too tight. And he goes, no problem. We'll send the other guy. And talking to my now fiance, she's not my girlfriend anymore. And Giselle said, if you had a lifestyle with much more overhead, mortgage, and blah, 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 you'd be like, well, I do need that extra couple grand. That would make this month a lot easier. But because you don't have that overhead, you're able to say, oh, what works best for me? I think that'd be a little too intense. Nah, let's hand it off to someone else. So as someone, like you said, 8 days of retainer work allows me the freedom to say yes or no to these other opportunities. That one was really cool, but I do think it would have hurt the next day of travel, that job, and it might not have been the smartest thing for me to do to jeopardize that client. Me showing up tired.
Yeah,
and
nobody wins in that.
Nobody wins.
Yeah.
But I had the ability to say no.
Yeah.
And
that freedom to me is just worth everything. Yeah.
I don't know many people who have that. And I'm not saying it's the right way to be, because I look at other people who are really productive and they are keeping their expenses high, but they are in motion forward. And that is a very admirable thing for me to witness. I'm like, wow, they're really pushing forward, and they don't know the exact ROI of everything that they're doing, but they're not stagnant. They're not sitting around. But that can lead to burnout as well. That can lead to so much stress of like, how do I cover these monthly costs? And so for you, me, Adam, Dalton, there's so many people who have different lifestyles. We're all in a very similar level of the industry, and our brain space, our wake up times, our daily routines couldn't be more different. And I like that there's aspects for me to look at for you and say, that's pretty cool. And then there's the same thing, aspects for you to look at me and say, I wonder what that's like.
Jumping back to what I did recently. So Chicago, we went on a shoot recently, and we decided to send the van with all the equipment 1,200 miles away. But what's crazy for me is literally the only thing I flew with was a Burano, but that was just in my carry-on. So it was so weird for me to fly with like nothing basically, or one camera, and I was like, this is what freedom looks like. I wake up on time because, they left a whole day before to get there in time, Mario and Jared. And we, just literally me and Emmanuel chill. Like I met his girlfriend too. We basically he came here and we both just, went to the airport. We're chill there. We're like, he has a backpack. I just have a carry-on. I'm like, this is life, for us. I don't have to worry about, usually also I'm trying to worry about getting pre-board or early check-in or whatever. I'm like, I have no stress. I'm quite literally like, this couldn't be easier, even though we're technically bringing $500,000 worth of equipment. It's just all already on its way, right? And that was just incredible to me, the freedom to be able to tell my client, who's also a friend, like, hey, no, I am flying. I am not driving this, man, but we can. get Mario and Jared to drive it, and that means you have easy access to everything, and it's cheaper to bring the whole van than rent individually items in Chicago. And so he gets an advantage, and plus it's all the gear everyone's familiar with, so we're not just getting some unknown quantity or whatever. And he's not running around, like a chicken everywhere in Chicago collecting gear. So it was easy for everyone. We were just able to fly in,
So
go to our location. Yeah,
Mario, you had a fun road trip.
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah.
The only thing next time, well, the way there we got a hotel, but driving there like without rest, it's a lot.
So yeah, it's
It's
like
a lot,
what,
but
20 hours?
for me,
Yeah.
20
Woo.
20 hours with all the stops and everything was 20 hours. But for me, it was really fun because it was my first road trip here in the US. So I had
Where are you
a lot
from?
of fun. I'm from Peru.
Peru.
From Peru, yeah. It's
And how long
America.
have you been here?
I'm here already 3 years.
3.
Yeah, I came here to do my master's in film, and yeah, 2 years already. Well, 2.5 years already, like working here.
How
Yeah.
old are you?
29.
29.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
I obviously the relationship you have with Vipul is pretty unique. I had a version of that with my buddy Dalton Smith. He owns a production company in Cocoa
He's
Beach.
gonna be here in a few weeks.
Is he?
Oh.
Yeah.
Would love
Right?
to hear him brain dump.
Yeah, I'm
surprised you
excited.
got him.
Yeah. Hey, me too. He wanted to be, so that's awesome. So no, I'm excited to talk to him because, like you said, he brings in his experience, and I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be really cool for people to listen to, because he's been able to tap into clients and things too. But
Well, and I can kind of alley-oop that episode is in 2016 or so, 2015. Man, it's not even a professional connection. It was a surfing connection. We both had a mutual friend who's a surfer, and I was telling him like, man, I'm going to Puerto Rico. I love surfing there. And he was a skater too, this guy in the middle.
Mhm.
So he would see me at the skate park, and then he see Dalton surfing at the beach, and he goes, I think you guys might want to connect. Like, you guys are both doing video, skateboarding, surfing, and this is like back when I had like one DSLR, one crappy tripod, like didn't have anything.
Yeah.
And that connection started a working relationship from then until now, where Dalton got to grow and I got to kind of be his right-hand man. And the benefits of that were I definitely wasn't qualified to be in the positions that he was able to achieve and needed crew for. And I would say, even in a certain sense, he wasn't qualified.
Yeah.
But because he was so aggressive we can figure out how to make this work. We can figure how this industry works, how these client works. He was able to get massive clients. Like I mean, the World Surf League asked him to do a qualifying series in Barbados twice. So he hired me, and we were getting extremely low day rates. I can't even get that position now.
Yeah.
I would love that
Yeah.
that cheap day rate.
Yeah.
We had a week in Barbados, me, him, Tristan, like the squad of people, and we're like, hey, the swell isn't working today, so we got a lay day. We're just hanging out in Barbados.
That's
And
so cool though. Yeah, you get paid to go to Barbados.
Like, he's worked for massive airline contracts. He's worked for governments. He's worked for like boards of tourism in different countries. There's so many massive clients that he's worked for because he was able to just like kind of figure it out and use his business brain, even though he's this blonde hair, blue eye surfer
look,
bro. But he's a good he's a good people person where his stoke comes off to other people and they go, oh, you're invested.
Funny enough, he was coming here to pick up some equipment or whatever, and Julie asked, "Who is this guy?" I was like, "Just look for a surfer, bro."
Yeah. So I was able to kind of grow with him and learn all these things and work at these. The day rates were small, but the opportunities were huge.
And that shows to his tenacity too, right? And that's hopefully my idea of this podcast is just again entertainment, but hopefully it can help people listen from these industry pros or people in the industry to kind of find their own path. But that is the whole point. You don't have to know everything. You
Mhm.
can just go do it and figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, just hire the pro who knows how to do that. I'm all about like it's all about getting the opportunity because the thing is the main thing about this industry is who you know, right? Your projects are because you knew those were because you knew Dalton, and now you're there because you know
Someone
you're
knew
retired.
Dalton.
Yeah, or someone
I
knew
didn't even know
Dalton.
him, and it wasn't even a professional contact.
But they introduce you, right? It's the connection. Who you know got you to
Yeah.
him. Then from there on, you knew him, and it can apply to any number of projects. Or it's your YouTube plugging you in. Point is, they have to know you exist, and they have to know you, whether directly or indirectly. And to me, networking and building your network is the most important thing, no matter whether you're going to be a freelancer, a production company, or whoever. Because if people don't know you, it doesn't matter how talented you are.
Yeah, but the level beyond that is people go, okay, I need to know people. How do I know people? The only reason that guy in the middle knew me and knew Dalton is because we were both creating things.
Mhm.
I was doing stuff in skateboarding, filming my friend's skateboard, filming the skateboard contests, and that's how I was making myself, making other people be aware of myself. Dalton was doing the same thing, self-funded surf projects, films, like very, very projects that are in his realm.
Mhm.
That's what he knows. So
Yeah.
that's what he's going to create. And if I had just been sitting there being like, I need a network, how do you network? You have to be creating something that's going to get attention from other people because those people can sometimes connect your dots.
Mhm.
Because even if I was creating those skateboard videos, I still don't know Dalton.
Yeah.
I still don't know it. So the other people can help. So
Yeah,
when a
creating-
lot of people are like, oh, how do I network? Like I get so nervous, like staring people in the eye, and I don't want to push a business card. I'm like, that's not networking. Networking is giving other people a reason to share your name. How do you do that? You create your own things that you enjoy.
Yeah. And to be real, again, to give you credit, it's not easy. Like we were talking about before we started. So, Mario's been able to help me on a decent number of projects this year. So I've been like, initially I was like, hey Mario, you got to help me, film some BTS or let's get some vlog. But we get hectic, and so that he couldn't do it, I wasn't able to do it, right? Which is why I was asking for assistance. And when we would get done, it'd be funny. Ask him, I was like, hey, did you get anything? He'd be like, no. And it wasn't because he wasn't trying, because when you're working in a fast-paced environment, so I give you huge credits for being able to do it. Because having worked with you myself, it's seamless. The way you do it. But anyway, we tried. So the only way we were able to get some YouTube videos done is like literally, I was in my office. Josh Leclerc, he was on last season. He had to come get his data from me, and he's like, "Hey, I gotta come copy this data or whatever, but I'm free. Let me," because I was telling about the YouTube thing that I've been trying, haven't been able to put together. He's like, "No, I'm coming, and we're gonna make YouTube videos." And so it needed that another creator to go no, and then we shot the video about the studio and the cart and the sound kit or whatever, and Mario edited them, and that's how I was able to get it done. And I was like, it took me at least 2 other people to get it done. These simple YouTube videos, nothing crazy. I'm not talking something fancy. So hats off to you. I like the way you do it. Shooting from your phone, editing from your phone, being able to just post them by yourself.
Yeah.
It is a massive effort, but you make it look seamless.
Thanks. I feel like I've gotten some workflow improvements as I've gone through it, and I just enjoy being able to talk to an ether of like-minded or non-like-minded individuals. Either way, it's good bounce board. And using my phone super easy. The little Hollyland mics, clip them on. Like for the final part of that series of that nightmare client who just had red flags everywhere. Adam and I were talking in the Salt Lake City airport at a layover. We had 3 hours, and he was like, "Yeah, man, that client you were talking about, like." I would have handled it this way. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Based on the information, actually, put a mic on.
Yeah. And then you're just like,
And then I put my phone,
Yeah.
like leaned it against my backpack. And I said, like, do you mind just continuing the conversation?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I don't mind. So that was just a YouTube video. I pressed start, and then at the end of 20 minutes, I pressed stop, and then I uploaded it to YouTube. And I was like, that was a way more valuable conversation than me trying to devise some vlog.
See, that's good for me to learn, because all I was trying to get the last 3 days was Adam just not working. I was like, this vlog is going to be funny because it's going to be clips of Adam not working for 3 days. And I'm like, look, this is how hard we work. Because every time he'd get on his phone, because, you know, it was easy. We were just babysitting the cameras. So, no, I don't want to discount it. Obviously, we did set them up. It required experience. But, you know, once they're set up, you just have to hit record, make sure it's in focus. So, but anyway, every time he'd get on his phone, I would pull out the phone.
I've done that too.
Yeah, I was like, and then I was like, the entire vlog is just gonna be, look, 3 days he just was on his phone, and charged the client massive. But anyway, but yeah, I was like, but to be real, there's no value in it. That's just entertainment. I do like what you were able to do though with him over what I did is like, hey, let me put a mic. This is a really good conversation. Other people need to hear
just
it,
easy
right?
too.
Yeah,
Like path of least resistance, phone. You know, I have people who reach out to me saying, hey, I'd love to edit your vlogs, like, you know, like a working relationship. You pay me, I edit your vlogs. I'll offload all of that. And I'm like, no, that's work oversight that I need to have now. I don't want to do that. I do not want to go through drafts and approve V2. Like, I'm not doing that.
You just want to get it done.
I can just go clip on CapCut and export, upload to YouTube, and try to find a thumbnail somewhere in there. Yeah.
That's like I said, what you're doing is really inspirational. I'll get there. Obviously, I'm trying to. My goal isn't to do, you know, the thing is, for years I've been doing this and never shared any content because I didn't see the value in it. But having talked to you, you know, now for years, I do see the value in it, and you're absolutely right in doing it. And it's not direct value. It's not like I'm going, oh, I'll share this, and a brand's gonna look at this video about some equipment or some set I'm sharing and gonna be like, oh, you're the guy. I mean, could happen, but that's not the goal or what I see happening. But I think even just sharing what you're doing, helping other people see the problems you're solving. I don't know. I feel like it's something everyone needs to be doing. You need to be creating your own content because, like you said, it may not lead directly to a client. It could lead indirectly to something because somebody could be watching and be like, hey, let's collaborate or let's meet or whatever. Who knows that it could reach one other person that doesn't know what I'm doing out here, right?
Yeah, and it's an opportunity creator, and that's not how I look at it, but that is an effect of it. Like I had an open afternoon a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I'm gonna go. I can be on my phone for the next, like, it's 5 p.m. right now. I could be on my phone until I go to sleep in my living room. I'm like, like, is there anything I think I would enjoy if I actually put a little effort in? Like, I have an open evening. So I just put on my story, hey, I'm going to Lazy Moon, gonna grab a big slice of pizza this big. If anybody wants to come by and talk shop, nerd out, like, I'll be there on my phone. I tried.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. I wish I had seen it. I would have so come because, you know, I'm not, funny enough for being a techie guy. I'm not on my phone that much.
Yeah.
By the time I saw it, you were with Josh, right? Josh showed up. Yeah.
So I was like, you know, I can't organize a filmmaker meetup, but that is the purpose of those. It's to get people together and talk and have fun. And I'm like, well, I want to do it right now in 20 minutes. So let me just put out that call onto my Instagram. And so I got there, and Josh immediately was like, hey, I have the evening open. I would love to come by. And I'll be here. I'll be scrolling Instagram until you get here.
Yeah.
So he came by, and he got a pizza. I got a pizza, and we were just talking and hanging out. I think it might have been a little too impromptu for other people to kind of work it into their evening. So it's just me and him.
Or people just not seeing it at that.
Or people not seeing it. And he was like, oh, I just dropped off a bunch of gear at Vipple's house.
Yeah, that's what I was like. He was here that morning. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So, but he kind of was like, I have the afternoon open as well. Like, he could easily fill up that time.
I think it's literally the day before we shot the YouTube videos. He was here the next morning. That's when, you guys met. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like, let's just hang out and talk. Like, you're in a town 30 minutes this way. Like, I don't know you that well. let's just hang out. Like I'm not trying to get anything out of you. You're not trying to get anything out of me. We're just connecting. And so that is kind of nice in between the filmmaker meetups where I can just be like, anybody else want to chat?
Yeah,
and
no, that's pretty nice.
If it was no one came, okay, no one came, whatever.
And I'm so glad you guys were able to connect and, like you said, learn more about each other. Because I worked with you, I worked with him. It's good to know, and that you guys were now able to meet and connect.
We didn't even talk about filmmaking. We were talking about buying houses and the market and saving money versus spending it, and it was just a really, really interesting conversation that I would not have had. I would have just been on my phone. But he knows me because of the vlog. He's been to some of my meetups. So, I want to do more and more meetups. They're very fun. Sometimes they're a little bit of a strain to put together and getting the right venue.
Exactly. I would love
free.
for another one to be there, but I get it, how much time it take of yours. But no, funny enough, how I met Josh was through your meetup. No, not through your meetup. I met Josh through your group. So I was looking for a drone photographer, and I was like, hey, again, I limit myself to only doing video, even though I'm part 107. Like, I want to do video. Point is, the client wanted photos, which is fine. I don't want to do them. So I'm like, hey, who wants to do drone photos? And Josh popped up, so I hired him. And it was funny. I didn't meet him until a meetup later in person. And I was like, oh, he's like, you've hired me. I was like, oh, you're so it was funny to, have already. So I basically hired him. He went and did the job, sent me the deliverables. I paid him without us ever actually meeting. Right. So even though we're in the same certain, Orlando, larger Orlando area. Point is, so when I met him at the next meetup, I was like, I'm Josh. I was like, oh yeah, I remember hiring you. Did great work. And then, so we essentially connected through your group, met through a meetup, and then we were able to, he was able to hire me on a job. So he was like, he needed something where he wanted to bring out the cart and the fancy stuff. And I was like, absolutely happy to jump in. And it was literally one of those ones that I do all the time. So it's very plug and play for me too. So again, then he was able to hire me, right? So it's like it goes everywhere.
It can circle back. It can spider web out. It makes me super happy to know that I have every place that I've done a filmmaker meetup: Atlanta, Dallas, San Francisco, and then a bunch here, that we create an Instagram chat once I leave. Everybody who was attending gets into this chat, and it preserves that connection after I leave. And I find a point man in Dallas. It's Jared Phillips. In San Francisco, it's Tommy Beal. And then I stay in these chats, but I kind of like let them run it. This is your thing because you already put in work with your vlog channel. And people kind of know who you are, and then it just spreads like wildfire over there. And I see so many jobs being passed around. Does anybody know a studio? Yeah, my buddy has a studio. Does anybody have a Part 107 certified pilot? Does anybody have? What's your thoughts on deity versus road? Like, there's so much value being passed around.
Yeah,
and it was because I did a small action before that allowed all these opportunities to create themselves. Now it's not even me being directly intertwined.
And funny enough, it helps me too, because again, not that I'm doing something great, but to an outsider, it looks like, oh, he's doing so great, I want to meet him. And a lot of times I'm just like able to deflect. I'm like, hey, here's the guy you need to follow. Like they'll be like, I need to meet. I'm like, no. The guy you want to follow is David Morefield, and look out for his post about a meetup. That's where you want to come. So I've been able to do that and help a lot, and not to like deflect them, but I'm just saying that is the place. I'm like, if you meet me, that's one, right? But if you meet a group of people, that's 40, 50 opportunities. That's what I told again Mario at the last meetup. Was like, hey, you gotta come, and you never know, who you're gonna meet, and other freelance. Like, yes, I like working with you, but you can get a lot more opportunities. I'm saying being around so many other people, and funny enough, that it did happen. So recently, Natalia, a friend of mine, she came over and she was like, funny enough, she was like, I was working for Adam, and then Adam texted me, by the way, I had Natalia. So they were able to meet, and then Adam was able to bring her on as an assistant. So that connection wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the networking event that we went to, right? And or just meetups in general. So it's like you never know where the connections are happening and who's hiring who.
I use it as a deflection as well, just because the ability to meet me versus the ability to meet the group. It's not even comparable. Meet
Yeah.
the group.
Exactly.
So
much more opportunity.
so much more opportunity than what I can provide. I can't provide a lot, but I can provide you a network.
Yeah.
So, you know, you use it that way. I use it that way. The meetups are fun. They're a little bit of a an effort to put together. I have one that I'm gonna plan in New York. Maybe I guess August. It's coming up really soon. So John Waldman will be the guy for that one because he's already put in the effort. I want to do San Diego. Actually, I'm going to San Diego with Adam. I could plan it around that. Alberto Mendoza will be the guy there because he's the one vlogging and putting himself out there. So it's like I want to align with people who are trying to make their own way, not the people who are like, hey, can you give me all of your resources? No, let me team up with someone who's also trying to run, and then because I know they'll take it further. They'll do what Tommy Beal did. They'll do what Jared Phelps did, and they'll just push because you can get that, and then you can let it die because you're not trying to water that situation. So yeah, there's a lot more meetups that I want to do, and it kind of brings me into the issue of like, how do I want to make this a bigger thing? Do I want to put more structure into it? Because there is obviously so much value. I had ideas of being like, maybe I'll do a 5-city tour in 2025. We're already halfway through.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's happening.
I mean, you could do it.
I could do it. But do I want to have the most common question I get is, hey, how do I find out when the next meetup is? I want to join. What city is it in? So, well, a newsletter would be great for that. It takes a little bit of work to do, not too much. And then I would need to line up with venues and do I want to have some type of community discussion outside of the Instagram chats? Because those are free, those are good, but they're very specific to that city right there. So how much structure do I want to give this thing? How much time do I want to invest? I feel like if I invested this much time, I would get this much out of it. But where is that? What is it? Is it a forum? It's got to be something that people are on.
Yeah.
You know,
where they get that information, because same thing, they need to know where it's happening, when it's happening.
Because right now I just say, hey, watch the vlog, and eventually I'll say something about it. It'd be much easier if I say, oh, sign up for the newsletter. It's once a month, and it's only information about the next meetup or like something very specific that maybe this is an excerpt of the vlog I put out this month. Yeah. And then, you know, just I hate getting emails.
Yeah, me too. But at the same time, if there's value in it. Like, have you heard of Syndicate List?
Yes.
Yeah. So I love getting their email because it's usually something good.
It's very cut and dry.
Yeah,
boom,
and
boom,
I like
boom,
that.
boom. That's it.
That's what I like. I don't want, bunch of BS about like to be honest, Production Hub. Unsubscribe to that newsletter very fast. All the stuff I was like, I don't want to know any of this. I'm sure it's relevant to someone, but I was just like, I don't want this. I find that when they just send you a lead or whatever, that's good, but I don't want their newsletter. But at the same time, Syndicate List, I love that newsletter because I'm like, every time they're sending me, it's funny enough, somehow they know. I'm like, ooh, I need that. Like, let me jump on that. Or even it's like not, then I'm like, oh, I wish I had jumped on that, 6 months ago or whatever. So either way, I love getting that email. Same thing. If you had a newsletter like that's just about meetups or something relevant.
Yeah, just something bite size.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't mind it because, like you said, nobody wants email, but if the email is relevant, who minds it? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And it'd be voluntary sign up.
Exactly. So you can just unsubscribe if it's not relevant to you anymore.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a lot of effort. I've asked a few people of like, hey, how do I do a emailer list? And there's I've been signing up for a bunch of YouTubers newsletters because I'm like, what do you put in there? Like, is it fluff? Is it bite size? Like I subscribe to Luke Forsyth's newsletter. He kind of gives more of like an expansive thought, a lot of text. Yeah. There's another guy, Gary Scaife or something, British guy, and he's offering kind of like, I'm going to talk about this, and it's a lead into the video that you can go check out. Also, you can pick up my course, and I just did a guide about this camera and stuff like that. And that's very interesting for me to see as well. Like, are you able to make money off this? Like, if you actually are providing value, then to me, that's not cringy to have a course or something. I have subscribed to courses like the Art of Documentary, and I've got a ton of value out of it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be like, oh, they just offer a course. It's like, well, I got way more out of it than what I paid.
Yeah.
So I got the better deal, actually. But some other people have courses that are just a couple of PDFs, and you're like, what did I pay for?
Yeah, exactly. I think it depends. You know, kind of like, for example, I'll tell you, like, I hate when every YouTuber has their LUT pack, and they want to push you their LUT pack, and they're just the trash. I mean, you could do way better job on Resolve in 10 minutes of learning, but then at the same time, there's value. Like, I personally have bought those Phantom LUTs. I forget the name of the guy. Can you find out? Joel. Yeah. Yeah, can you find out his page? But the guy who makes the Phantom LUTs, and the reason is, as soon as I switched to Sony, I've quickly realized, oh, FX6 and FX3 don't look the same. You know, there's some differences.
Okay, here
But
it is.
Can you show us?
Joel Famularo.
Okay, but Phantom LUTs. Personally, I have bought them. So thank you, Mario.
Yeah, no worries.
The reason being is being able to put his conversion LUT on my cameras made sure the image that I was sending to the production monitor, they match very closely, and it solves a problem on set, because I don't want a client to go, hey, why are they like? Because even though in post, you know, we could tweak it or whatever, but using his conversion LUTs on the cameras to see the image is beneficial to me. So those LUTs were worth it. So kind of like that. Not everything in the same category is good or bad. It's just you have to find the good stuff. Same thing with courses. Like, I hate courses from people who don't do this for a living. You know, they're like, I'll show you how to make 20 grand a month guaranteed or whatever. And then they're like, they don't run a video company. They don't know any of this. They're just selling you a course because that is their business. That's different than somebody's like, hey, I do this for a living. Here's something condensed I learn that gives you value. And I'm going to continue working in the industry. I'm not going to now become a full-time course salesman. To me, that is huge value, where I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm intrigued. Let me see if I find value.
Yeah, I love to learn about those things, because if there is a value exchange, if my money gave me this value, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
It's just when it's lopsided that people are like, I paid a lot and I didn't get much back. And now I think of you as someone who's just trying to take money from your audience, and then you kind of ruin the whole thing. Yeah. So like for Joel, who's doing the Phantom LUTs, which by the way, I love that monitor. That's so nice to have that camera feeds and then computer. Like, I don't think anybody's being like, oh, he's just trying to get money with his LUTs. It's like, have you tried them? They're great. Yeah. They work very well for the purpose that you need. So that's a very equal value exchange. Like, I'm not mad at that.
Funny how we'll even buy them one time. So we used the Burano on this recent job, and obviously I didn't have them. And again, just like he had one for the Burano. So immediately I told the director, I was like, you got to buy it. It's a production expense. So we bought one immediately. So it was like, you know, good for him to make extra $50 or whatever the LUTs are. But, you know, for me, it was immediate. I was like, hey, we're using FX6, FX2. They already have the Phantom LUT. We want it to match. Yeah. Especially when you're looking at the monitor. It's an instant buy. So there's, you know, I don't know. Like you said, I could justify that value in an instant versus a lot of LUTs and stuff I've seen online where I'm like, what?
And so I think there's a value that I can provide in network, in community. I don't know exactly what that is. And I have to filter it through what would I be on. Am I going to go onto another website? I don't think I will. Like, I'm on the Art of Documentaries Facebook page, and you know, Facebook is primarily used for groups. So I could maybe do. I see that platform. Is it another one? You know, Jared in Dallas has mentioned quite a few times. He was thinking about Discord. That's just not in my world. So if I'm not going to use the platform, how can I expect other people to use it?
I mean, Discord has its uses. To be real, it may be where you offload from Instagram one point, because, you know, I think they have a limit in how many people you can add. But my whole thing is, here, Tommy Bull again put it, the last video that I watched of his, put it correctly. Like, he broke it down, how much he gained from YouTube versus how much, and majority of his income came from the 2, 3, or however many networking event either he attended or hosted. And that's just the truth. The value is in networking events, and the reason is not that the networking events are special. It's just it's a limited crowd,
Yeah.
right? It's a limited crowd, so there's a high opportunity to talk to enough people where you guys can actually connect and get to know each other. Not saying you couldn't do that on the internet or Discord or chat,
Right.
but
It filters out.
it's limiting because if I have 100 people, like if I like sometimes I've had where I'm like I need this and I'm like 50 messages in my inbox and then people hate me for it because I'm like it's gone, guys. You're too
Yeah.
fast. So it's like I didn't. Not everyone got that opportunity. The only one who won is usually who's able to respond the fastest. Versus in a networking event, now I get to know these people. I'm like, oh, that's who you're about, or this is what you do, this is what you like. Now I can filter the offer to the right person. I'm like, hey, you do this better. Let me send that to you. If that makes sense.
When I did the meetup in San Francisco with Tommy, he asked me, hey, I have a guy who's working in the industry. I let him know about your meetup. And he says, what does the $15 admission fee get me? And I was like, well, it's a bar. So like you have to order your own drinks and your own stuff. And I was like, yeah, what does it get you? And then it was that. I was like, oh, it's the exclusivity, because I think there would be a lot of people who would attend if they were just saying, oh, I get to meet David. I see him on YouTube. Yeah, let's come over and say hi. Oh, $15.
Yeah,
I don't. He's not worth that. And I'm like, okay,
no Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So I told him, I was like, I'm trying to filter out the people who are just coming off of YouTube, and instead putting a little bit of a paywall to show the people who are like, I would like to meet other people, and that is worth $15 for me. And honestly, a lot of times, there is a ticket price. It's usually for food or the venue or something. When I do it in Orlando, I haven't charged just because it's been the home base experiment lab. Let me figure out how this works.
So far, we haven't had that many people who just came,
right.
just to be.
Right.
But yeah, you're right.
I
do see the point.
I'm just like David here. If I'm going somewhere else, they're like, oh, he's in this town for one event. So over there, it was great. There was a bunch of people who were like, I would like to spend $15 to be with other people who think it might be worth to connect with.
Exactly.
And I just need to, or I'm willing to explore that and be like, okay, so how do I take that out of the physical experience and connect so many more people digitally? I don't know what it is. I know there's value there. I'm not trying to rush to just put something together, but I do know that is the value that I can provide. It's not really, let me tell you how to do everything. I don't have that. But as someone who's an introvert, it's very, very weird to be like, I'm the connection guy now, or I'm able to connect people who can connect other people. So I would like to keep doing that because it's fun. A lot of my friends get opportunities out of it. I see so much more money being made from other people. And also, I like traveling. I like meeting new people and new experiences.
To travel, or even if you're just going there for a meetup, there's huge value because you are the guy who's putting this together and you're creating this value. So I don't know. I like your meetups. I've met great people, and funny enough, sometimes it took a couple of meetups to build that connection. So that's why I like going to them all the time. Because, for example, Adam and I met on the first one. And I remember not having, like that deep conversation with him because, even though there was the 6 of us, I was like, oh, so he does veterinary videography. Okay, sounds good. I'm like, all right, that's it. That's all I knew. And then, a couple of meetups later and you recommending me hire him or whatever. I was like, oh, this guy does so much more than veterinary videography, right? It's like that slow connection build that you can do over the course of, let's say, I don't know, 2-3 meetups. And I'm like, oh, and now we worked so much with each other. That wouldn't have happened had that opportunity not, I don't know, presented itself. And then him saying, hey, I need somebody. Do you know someone or do you want to come? And I was like, sure. But that wouldn't have happened had he not been connected through your networking event or you recommending him to me or vice versa. I don't know. I just find huge value in it. Now, talking about paywalls, I don't know how you could price it or that's obviously for you to figure out because I've been struggling with the same thing. So here's something I want to do. Even though I'm a DP, director, DP, producer, I've really learned very fast in the industry that what separates a good DP from a bad DP or not such good DP is lighting. Because you're technically in charge of the lighting department, even though I know on a bigger set a gaffer would do it, but on smaller sets, it's just the same group of people doing everything. And I've been able to, I think, learn enough about lighting. I've been wanting to do like an advanced lighting course. Like I'm talking.
Okay.
It's for people who want to really learn, like getting into the weeds of it and getting into like spectrum, showing a color meter, light meter, like, and not that people need to go buy it, but like, what's the spectrum difference between this light, why would I pull this light over this light, and actually showing the science behind it, showing actual frames from videos, and lighting breakdowns, whatever. I want to do like an intense 4-hour lighting course that I feel like people could really benefit from and up their level. So it'd be like for really DPs who are like, I want to go to the next level, or people who are like, I want to be a gaffer, or I want to go to the next level of gaffing or whatever, right? That would be the target group. It wouldn't be for beginners. And so I'm like, and I want to do it very exclusively. I'm talking like 5 people, maybe 10 at most. Like that would be like,
is this a high
max.
ticket?
No, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want to put paywall. I'm all about giving free education, but here's the thing. I'm like, if I say free,
Yes.
any and everyone can sign up. And I hate to say this, but if they don't know basics about lighting, how to put a light on a stand, this course isn't for you. We're going to go straight into types of light, where to use a car, where to use a panel, why would I use this specific brand over this specific brand, blah, blah, blah. Here's how you can use something pro on Citus app or whatever. You get my point. It's supposed to be for, hey, I already knew the beginning thing. I know how to do a three-point. I know how to set up a light. Now, how do I take it to the next level, right? Where do I use frames? What rags? Stuff like that. And I was like, I would really love to just help people, right? I feel like this could level up so many people, and I have this knowledge to share, but at the same time, I cannot do this in a big classroom setting. Then it wouldn't work. It has to be hands-on.
Yeah.
So at most, like I said, I would do 10 people, and even that to me seems high, right? 5 would be ideal, because then we can all be hands-on. But then I was like, if I do this for free, which is how I'd like to do it, then I'm going to get people that may not be interested in doing this. So I'm like, how do I get the right people? Because my time is worth something too. Like, I'm not talking monetarily, but I don't want to waste my time. So that's where I've been going back and forth, where I'm like, do I put it behind a paywall? And if I do, then what paywall? And then what do I do with that money? Do I spend that money on food? Do I keep that money? I hope that makes sense. That's the internal debate recently I've been going through. And what's happened is I meant to do this last month, and now a month later, having made no decision. And in the end, what's happening is nobody's going to get this thing, because I have this internal debate on paywalls and what to price it at or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm in the exact same thing, except instead of a month later, it's like a year later for me. And I'm like, I was talking about a newsletter last year.
Exactly. And there's costs of that for you. You have to at least get the account, right? It's MailChimp or whatever platform you're going to use. It's going to have costs.
I don't think it's much, but it's more so. It's not the cost. It's me committing to a future structure. It's like, well, you probably would put one out every month, maybe even not. Maybe it's whenever there's news. Yeah, sure, but like. You are committing yourself to that type of structure. And as someone who is extremely non-committal, like that is probably the biggest deterrent. Is I'm like, do I want to set up for something that I know I have to do in the future? Obviously, you can make it work for you. You do it at your speed rather than signing yourself up for what you think would be the highest value output. That's how people get burnt out. I have never got burnt out because I am in situations where I have the autonomy to choose, do I want to do it or not? Now, I have been extremely overworked, and I'm like, I'm going to take a week off, but I can take the week off.
Yes, you have that freedom. And I think it's the same thing with this newsletter. Like I said it for years, I want to start a conversation with people. I want to post it because I love watching, like I said, Joe Rogan would be the perfect example, but for filmmakers. And I was like, I can't find something, where it's fun like that, where it's like new guests and you
talk about podcast?
Podcast. Yeah. And I'm like, I had to just do it, right? I had to literally, if you remember, the way it happened was, here's the dates, we're just gonna do it, and it just happened. And same thing, I think, was a newsletter. If you just think about it, then you're gonna procrastinate. You're gonna come up with so many reasons to do it, to not to do it. And I think you should just do it. Simple as that. And I think that's the thing I've learned. Same thing with this lighting course. Now I've been procrastinating because I'm like, what do I do? What do I price it at? Do I price it at free or 99, or should it be a high ticket item because high value information? And because of that, it's not happening. So I feel like I just need to pick a price and do it, and then I don't know, just I feel like the value is already there, and since it's not there for me to have income, I could just spend that money on food or whatever for people to have or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think the summary of it is you just gotta do it. Otherwise, you'll always find reasons to postpone it or make it grander or whatever. Right?
Not only do I agree, one of my favorite podcasts is called My First Million. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's about these two guys who have made a ton of money, tens, if not hundreds of millions, from buying and selling businesses, but they are so casual in their podcast because they are curious minds, and that's how they've been able to find opportunities. And they will just one of the recent podcasts, they were saying our new word is generative. We like generative people. And they said, what does that mean? That means someone who is generating things. Like, it's not just being a productive person. It's like I'm creating things that are going out and doing more. So you generated this podcast, right? And this, I 100% believe, will create something beyond the episode. It will go further. It will connect. It will catch the eyes of someone maybe 5 years down the road. Who knows what? Because you generated this, you made this out of nothing, put it into the ether. Same thing that I do with my vlog. Things just pop out. And I think that is the difference of the people who have good ideas. A lot of people have good ideas. I feel like I have great ideas. It's just the ability to take the next step to actually create it and put it out, whether it's in a good phase, whether it's fully formed, whether it's polished, whatever.
And remember, you never get good at it from day one. You have to first do it, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to do it great. Thing is, you can't, like, again, I hate to keep giving podcast examples, but like season 1, I'm like, I wanted to do this, and we weren't able to. So then it was like, do I cancel? No, we're going to do how I'm able to. And I'm pretty sure season 3, 4, whatever, if I do it, I'll be like, oh, this was nothing. Like, we're doing this or whatever. And it's always, you're trying to go to the next level, but you'll never go to the next level if you don't start from the level 1, right? Same thing with your vlogs. I'm sure if you go back to the first one, you're like, oh, so cringy.
They were fantastic.
Right? And you're like, what am I doing? I mean, maybe you don't have that feeling. I do. If I look at my video even from 6 months ago, I'm like, what was I thinking? Because you're always evolving, I feel like. My goal is, like, today, if I make a video for my client, it's going to be the best video that I can make today at that price point.
Okay.
That's a factor. But that does not mean 6 months later that was the best video I can make at that day.
Right.
It will be something different, whatever the market needs or wants, or my process has evolved, right? So I just try to do best that I can do today. It may not be the bestest thing ever, because at least for me, when I look back, I'm like, oh, what was I doing? It's because you're evolving as a person.
Well, one of the biggest takeaways I've had from doing YouTube is I realize I have my job, my career, and I now always want something in parallel. I want something else growing. So for me, it's the vlogging channel. And then from that has branched out into Instagram chats, physical meetups, a ton of work being contracted my way, so many more connections and just meeting people around the US, everywhere. So it's so obvious in my face that I'm like, if I had just sunk all my time into my career, I would have been severely stifled. I would never have had all of the opportunities from this side. And I want to have even more pillars. That's 2. But I would love to have a third one that is growing and kind of like a stock. It's compounding over time, and I'm able to maybe not see a lot in the beginning, but it might be a long play, and it might go nowhere.
Yeah, you never know, but I think like you said, you're just doing it, and if you don't have an agenda, you're just creating what you want to create. Maybe you have an outline, but things will come, because you never know where that leads to, right?
Or you're creating an environment where things can come, where things can come. It might not. but you are not creating an environment where things can happen if you're just
Yeah.
stagnant here.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, it's like, again, what we do, people need to find us. People need to know what we do. And you need to show them that, whether that's through in-person networking events, whether that's through YouTube, whether that's through Instagram, whatever format people, TikTok. I mean, I find it cringe, but you can do TikToks. I mean, whatever platform works for people, I think they should just do it. I think that's the summary of this, right? Just go create content, be generative.
Yeah,
and I think things at least create an environment around you where opportunities will follow. And usually, in my opinion, if you keep at it, just don't give up. Things will automatically line up. You just
Yeah.
gotta keep doing better.
Yeah, and I wouldn't bank on anything returning. Like
Yeah.
I had a consultation caller. It's an older guy in Denmark, and he's like in his 50s, and he has like kids
Mm-hmm.
who might have had their own kid. And I was on a consultation call with him, and I'm like, how am I gonna help this guy? Like, he's lived so much longer than I have. Has so many more wide views, experiences of the world. Like, how can I don't know if it felt a
Yeah.
little uncomfortable being like, oh, let me try to consult you on how you can improve. And a lot of times the value in the consultation calls is just having the conversation for people to bounce off their ideas, it to hit me to redirect it. And eventually I was very happy because in the last stretch of the call, we did find some really cool trajectories that he could take, but it took like 95% of the time to just dig and dig and dig and find what could work. And a lot of times it's not gear focused, these calls. It's more so his was very, my personality is like this, and I'm crisscrossed, I'm wide, I'm sporadic, and it's hard for me to focus in and do this. Do I need to have my website up? Do I need to have my vlog? Do I need to have a vlog channel like you? Do I need to start doing Facebook ads on Meta? Like, and he's like, I have all these ideas that I want to do. And then when we wrapped up, he was like, oh, I thought you were going to come in here and say, this is the plan that you need to do. You need to scope in and like really do X, Y, Z. But he said, but that's not what you're telling me. You're telling me that I have a much higher chance of success if I follow the things that I enjoy. I was like, yeah. Because you're going to do it more than the thing that you're tasked with. Because when you want to do it, it's not a task. It's like, oh, I get to do that. I get to. So I was
It's
like,
fun.
yeah, absolutely. Go explore that route. Like, I have no guru abilities in my head. I am just following the thing that I want to do. And because of that, I will do it more. So if you do that, if that allows you to be generative, that allows you to create something, that is the high producing path.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the key to because you can make money doing so many things.
Yeah.
Literally so many things. So if you just want to make money, go make money. But the idea that I'm trying to at least share is like, you can make good money doing what we do, but if you want to do it, right? I would really recommend people who are really passionate about it, because there will be days when things are tough, right? People come here and we can tell them, how awesome it is to have a really nice retainer that goes on for over 18 months, or I have projects that are like 50 grand, 100 grand, 150 grand all the time. So it's like, oh, this is amazing, but it's like they don't see the downtime, the bad times, or the times, things are not going great. That, maybe at least you're sharing on somewhat on your channel about your board not working on your camera, but I don't put any of that out there. So people don't see the sleepless nights, the extra time where, you have to do things that you're not having fun, or dealing with a bag full of receipts, just because it needs to go in QuickBooks. Point is, like, there's a lot of it. And I'm saying, but if you love it, it will all flow. But if you don't love it, then it's just another job on top of another job. Then it's just, you might as well go do a better job that's not this complicated and technical and creative, where you can make good living.
Funny is my retainer is like golden handcuffs, just like 2.3% interest rate on a mortgage that people got in 2020. Like, it is a fantastic situation, and kind of before I would be like, well, maybe I'll move here, maybe I'll move there. And it's kind of like, well, if you do that, you're not going to have this. And this is great.
Yeah.
This is great for my income. This is great for, it's like every time is an experiment to get creative, to kind of figure something out. So I love it. Is it the most fulfilling type of work? No, but it's, if I can satisfy my clients' needs, that's very fulfilling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I've always debated, because like I tell people, like, I don't have retainer clients, I have repeat clients. I really love what I do, right? But the reason I love it is because every day we're doing something different. Like I said, last 3 days I was doing a course video. We're gonna be doing like a car shoot on Tuesday, and then I was in San Diego earlier doing a conference, right? We're basically going. Then we're helping like the company that we help does the same thing. They help sell other companies. So what I'm saying is I'm going from one cool thing to another cool thing, and it's like everything's different, and it just keeps it fun, because I'm like, oh, you do this, and you get to learn about so many different industries, and I'm like, if I get stuck with one industry the whole time, then I'll get I don't know, boring to me. But at the same time, let me say the other side of it. Having seen you, I'm like, but I do like the idea that if I had a retainer like you do, then it's like, hey, 8 days, like you said, it's like that. The golden goose, right? Or not the golden goose, but like gold interest rate. Yeah. What do you call it?
I called it golden handcuffs.
Golden handcuffs. There you go. Because then it's like, hey, now I have 24 days every month, or 22 days every month, where I can now go do all that stuff, where I can say no to a certain industry just because I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I completely have changed my mindset on retainers, having seen you and the freedom that is brought for you, because like you said, it lets you then have that freedom to choose what you want to do. And for somebody like me who doesn't want to be stuck doing the same thing over and over again, and I'm not talking same thing as in video, I'm talking same industry. It would give that freedom where it's like, hey, nah, we've done that, so this may not be the right fit, so I can then pick the next industry. Because what I love is doing different things over and over again. So we'll see. But I'm definitely more open to retainers now than I was in the past. So you never know. No, because I'm loving right now the shoot that we did on the track. Everyone I had on the shoot with me that day, they were literally like, this is the most fun I've ever had on a shoot. And I was like, that wouldn't have happened had I taken, booked my whole month with retainer work or whatever. But it was from a repeat client. So I was like, this is incredible that we get to do this. Like, we're literally on a track doing FPV drone stunts with this car that's unreleased, stuff you wouldn't get to do.
Yes.
But, and then the next day, like I said, I'm working with the CEO, where like, selling them selling other people's businesses. So it can just vary so much. And that to me is fun. Like, technically we're operating cameras.
I am surprised you don't have a retainer, because you are someone who is so ingrained in let me find a workflow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't aligned with a company who's saying...
Well, I have, but that's what I'm saying. The way it works is they call, like this company that I'm talking about, they just call. They were like, hey, so we're going to now do 12 series of 12 80s. Okay, there you go. The retainer, the project is done. But it's project-based. I haven't done where it's like, oh, no, every month you're going to come make 2 videos for me or 5 videos for me, whatever. I haven't done that type of retainer. But now I'm saying I'm starting to open more for it. Because like I said, I love repeat clients.
Yes.
I don't like being stuck that, hey, every Monday is mine or every 4 days is mine. But now I'm like, if that meant that I could have the other days to pick and choose or whatever, have that freedom, I would be open to it.
Well, that is my situation, because for the retainer that I have, we book out about 3 to 6 months in advance. It's not every Monday. It's like the client has these dates available. Can you tell us which dates work for you? So I have certain dates throughout the months coming up that I know are blocked off. But for some reason, that's better to me than being like, it's Tuesday through Wednesday every second week or something. For some reason, I like that more, even though it's the same, it's blocked off time in the future. But because I had the ability to choose, it makes me feel better. And Adam was asking me, hey, I got a San Diego job coming up. Can you put a tentative week for me? And then he says, I'm going to be getting the quotes, likely 2 days of production. What days do you have available between October this and this, November this and this? And he goes, you know what? Who are we kidding? I'm your other retainer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, and then I said, I don't need gear for either retainer. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. You got the good end of the deal. I like working with him, but I'm like, I want the other option where I just show up. But no, that's an incredible.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's a testament to your workflows.
Yeah, I know.
He knows your workflows
Yeah,
are
that I will probably
concrete.
have it.
So he's like, yeah, just have him do it.
Exactly.
I don't know what that says about my workflows, but he knows his workflow works and your workflow works.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm happy. That's why I say I've built this for my clients. But if that means it works, no, I'm now thinking about fitting you in my workflow. So if you remember the gigs that you've done for me, where the live stream, where we want to make it mobile and be able to flow, and I was like, I've now been literally thinking, because this Ronin 8K that I've acquired actually does wireless signal. And it has a much better wireless signal. And I was like, plus it's all integrated instead of this big thing. I was like, it would be so cool to deploy this in one of the live stream situations. Yep. And I was like thinking, ooh, would David like operating this? So maybe I want to throw you.
The tilt-a-ring.
Yeah, the tilt-a-ring with the gimbal, with the FX3. This is all just integrated, one battery, makes it easy. It's a little heavier, but I don't know if it's heavier once you add all that up. It may actually be about the same weight or a little less. Because it's heavy, but it's not as heavy, I think. I need to
looks
weigh
easier
them,
to manage.
Yeah, plus with the manual, being able to quickly go manual focus if it loses focus or whatever, and the ability to track, because if they're walking fast, you can select the face and then it'll just track. I don't know. I see it being deployed, so maybe that we may try that. I'm seeing the possibilities, like I said. Just come in. We need to play with it more. But that would be really cool to deploy with you there. But I know we're running towards the tail end of our time, so I want to go back and touch on what I really want to ask about. You're a committed man now. What made you pop the question? And you also put it on the vlog. So
I rarely
do personal stuff
on the vlog. Maybe like a bloop of her face or something. Just because I don't know that's. Kind of a side where I'm like, it's not really relevant to this, but like I do show a lot of personal stuff, so it's I'm not gonna make an episode about it, but like a little thing. It's honestly because the vlogs they're catalogs of like memories, so I'm able to have a video diary, and I'm like, well, is not really work related, but because I insert so much of my life into my vlogs, I'm like, I want that cataloged in there. And it was just like a 15-20 second sequence of proposing. I went to Gloucester, Massachusetts, a coastal town right near Boston, and the Airbnb was looking out over the ocean, and it was a really cool opportunity, but man, I didn't know so many things going into it. I didn't know that you have your engagement ring, and then there's also a wedding ring. Yeah, didn't know that.
So did you have already bought the ring, or did you buy it there?
I thought you could just go there and get a ring, and the sales woman at Tiffany's was like, how long do you have before you go? I was like, 5 days. She's like, oh my gosh, like. we need to like do this now to get, you need to look through which ones you want, send them out or have them sent in the right sizes and carrot, and then going down. I'm actually glad I waited to the last minute, because I would have gone down the rabbit hole of diamonds, clarity and cuts, and I'm like, I would sink so much time into this, but because I had to like kind of make fast actions, I was like, I like that clarity. I like that. And then I remember these are the styles that she likes. Let's do it and move on. So shout out to that lady for helping me, because she really saved that situation. And like I said before, I'm a very non-committed person. I hate knowing that my decisions are tied up for me in the future. So that really relates to me in freelancing.
You're literally saying right now, hear yourself. You said, I'm a non-committal person who just committed to marrying this woman.
Yes. So and part of me is in that side where I don't like retainers. You're telling me my Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the next foreseeable future is taken up. Like, I don't like that. I don't like not being able to say no. I don't like having the autonomy to decide. And then like obviously there's a big difference between choosing those things in work versus the personal side where you get to expand on this experience that you have with someone else. And that is like the part that pushes down the non-committed to being like, well, this is great, right? You like this relationship with this person? Yeah. First of all, do you want to preserve it? Because they don't just sit next to you forever without, anything in the foreseeable future. Okay, well, what if it could grow into something bigger? I'm like, I didn't see myself being like, yeah, I want to do that, but hearing her perspective of it and then seeing.
Did she knew you were gonna do it or no? Was it actually a surprise?
Surprised her.
Okay.
She knew we were in that realm.
Okay.
But the actual event was a surprise, and that's all. That was the main important thing. I just didn't want her to be like, oh, it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Like I wanted the kind of a little bit of magic and be like, I want to surprise you. And funny enough, I filmed it on a A7S III with a disposable DIY lens that I made. So I kind of gave it this nice little blooming, stretching, really, really cool look. With just the disposable lens
tiny,
cap. You can buy them from Dispo Lens, but I made one myself, and it's like, oh wow, this is like a big milestone, like to go over. It's intense.
Yeah. Are you feel good now that it's done? You're committed. You're
it's exciting.
Yeah.
To kind of see myself change a little bit. To be so adamant to being like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, the guy I met, and I've only known you a few years. I was like, the guy I met, 3 years ago, or whatever, 2 years ago. Yeah, it was almost 2 years ago. Was basically like would have never, like you were like no retainers, no commitment, no nothing. I'm a free bird. To like you're engaged. You have a retainer that you've been doing for a year and a half. You've left your downtown lifestyle that you were so happy about. Like you're kind of very different.
Yeah, and I would say like I like the free bird type of feeling, and then now it just feels like it's too free.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's the mushy gushy way to look at it. But before we wrap this up, this is incredible, by the way. I'm so happy for you. Feel like you're doing great. Love watching your vlogs. Love keeping up with what you're doing and hearing about you. Like I said, even indirectly when I'm working with Adam or other people that you worked with. Like I said, Josh, like when he came and he was telling me about the dinner that you guys had because we filmed the YouTube videos. So things like that. But before we wrap this up, anything else you wanted to touch on? I know there's so many topics, man.
Yeah.
This could go on forever.
I feel like we talked about a lot of like the good things. I'm trying to think of like what bad things are going on because those are oftentimes more interesting. I'm trying to think of any issues that I have. I think, staying organized, schedule wise, and trying to monitor what is going to be my energy level if I do job. That doesn't show in the invoices. The invoices look great, but kind of, that is a factor as well. Is are you lining up your calendar if you have the ability to do so, where you're saying, I can do that, and then I can come home and charge batteries, and then I will be able to pack for the morning flight. Is there any margin for error there? Like, what happens if you miss if your flight doesn't take off? Completely out of your control. I don't know. There's a lot of times where when you slam things together in the calendar, when you get through like I don't know, maybe like 14 days, and you're like, oh, gosh, like that worked, but like that could have been a nightmare.
And here's the negative of what at least I love this. So what happens with me is if somebody reaches out, and with us having so much freedom, I can move things around and fit a job in and then a job here and job here. What ends up happening, then I'm like morning till evening, I'm doing a job, then I'm sending emails or responding to clients or reviewing edits. And then, I'm up till 3 a.m., then waking up again 6 a.m. to get ready for the next day of the job, and then you do it again. Then I've realized the most recently, I'm like, this is summer. I should be spending time with my family, and because it's our busy time, because there's so many jobs, and because what I love, what I do, I committed my calendar to so many jobs, and I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure I carve out a few days. I gotta spend time with my family and my kids and stuff. The other side of what I enjoy, it shouldn't suffer because I am, enjoying doing video production a lot. So it can be very negative, and you're, at least for me, when I come home, like I said, like, I missed you. It's very rewarding, but then
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm so freaking tired. I have so many things on my agenda that I want to do, but at the same time, these kids deserve all the time in the world with their dad, right? And that to me is the biggest struggle that I have, which is
Okay.
very similar to you, like time management. It's like there is no window for any errors because I have committed, let's say, the next day to go to this job, and I have all these clients that need me to respond. I have these editors who need me to watch video, and this guy probably will tell you the truth. He hates me. He's been asking me, review this website, review this edit, review this, and I'm like, Mario, tomorrow for sure, for sure. And he knows, and I'm like, he's gonna realize it's like one of those relationships that tomorrow never comes.
It's been like for two weeks already.
Yeah, tell the truth though. Have you have you been hating on me for doing that? Where you asked me to review something and I haven't.
A little, but I understand. So it's okay. Just what I would like to help you with, like be on top of things, like be more organized. So
and get it together.
But I know that you're full. Okay, so I understand.
He's about to. It's like choosing between, do I spend hours with my kids that I have versus, reviewing a video, even though that video is important. Like I said, I want to post these YouTube videos and things like that we're creating. But at the same time, I go, oh, I got to really spend a couple of hours with my kids.
Yeah.
I got to really sit down. And that's all I have. And then, you got back to the regularly scheduled thing. And that is, at least for me, currently the biggest nightmare, where it's like I was where you were last year, right? Where I had no expenses. So I was like, I can do whatever. And now this year I've committed so much, a house, a van, this whole shebang. And it's like, oh, I have to do, so much work, which I mean, we end up doing anyway. But I'm just saying, when you've that thing behind you, right? Like you talked about, then it's like, oh, I have to do all this. And it's like, oh, now I don't have time for other things.
I think sometimes, no, like always you do too much at the same time.
Yes.
So I'm trying like to help you ease out that all the stress.
Thank you, Mario. This is the guy I needed.
Yeah.
take my stress away. Yeah.
I think there is a lot of us who are looking at the production side and saying, how do I workflow optimize this? And then like neglecting workflow optimizing their life.
Yeah.
And Adam said this to me when we were leaving Washington State. We just did a job there. And he goes, I feel like you and I are pretty even-tempered. We kind of like do some similar outdoor activities, and we're like generally have a similar personality. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'd say so. We get along well. And he goes, when we get home and we split, our lives couldn't be more different. He goes, I am on my way to a new. A fairly new wife who is a fairly new mom who has been taking care of a new baby, and I have to jump into that role. Yeah. I can't just come home from a work trip and say, don't talk to me for 2 days. Yeah. Like, he's got to go into that.
Yeah, he's got to mow the yard.
He's got to mow the yard. He's got to give her a break. He's, and then he goes, but you're going to go into your, and he's got a nice, beautiful home. He's like, you're going to go into your 1-bedroom apartment. Your girlfriend may or may not be there. You have a cat, and you're in the forest, and we are living extremely different lives. And he didn't put it in a way of like, your life is better, my life is better.
It's just different. Yeah.
It was just, we have very different lives. Oddly enough, we're in the same type of work, and we have chosen the things that we want. But man, are they different mindsets when you return home. And I was like, yeah, like I I think you picked the situation. Adam picked the situation that gives him exactly what he wanted, and I think I picked the situation that gives me exactly what I wanted. And I like that you can do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And like I said, this is what I wanted. I have nothing to complain because for years, and I'm sure I talked to you a bunch of times, and I know I talked to Adam, but like, I want a place where we can, do this. So finally having that place is awesome.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted the van. I wanted the studio. I wanted the podcast. I wanted this. So I have to remember that I chose this.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a choice. It's not somebody forcing me to do it. But it's a very different path. Like you said, you chose that quaint lifestyle.
Yeah.
You enjoy being around the forest or whatever, or
Yeah.
being able to go to the spring. I think everyone like we're doing very similar things as far as work goes. But then when we go to our personal lives, we're choosing to do different things, and that's okay. We're carving our own path, and that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say I am getting a little itchy. I'm like, this is okay, but I'll see some other people who have different experiences, and I'm like, well, I don't want all of that, but like, I'm hearing like above me, like, is that the dog walking above me? Is that the neighbor? They're moving furniture at 8 a.m. or vacuuming, and I'm like, okay. So on one hand, I have my expenses exactly where I want them. These low expenses allow me to profit at very high margins and save for the future. And I'm like, check. Love all that. On the other hand, you have shared walls. You can hear conversations from neighbors. You can hear music. You can hear them moving the couch. And I'm like, I don't like that. So what do I have to do if I want to switch out of that? It's like, well, with current interest rates, you're going to pay about double. So,
and then you got to mow the yard. You got to take care of the house. If anything goes wrong, it's all on you. But it's not all negative. I do want to say, like, there's pros, positive too. Like you said, none of that. It's your home. You have that freedom.
That you walk into. Like this. Exactly. This is essentially a man cave.
Yeah.
This is your excuse of a man cave. It's a production studio, but this is your space.
Exactly.
And I like that type of scenario you created for yourself. And I would like something similar in just the general home sense, where it's like, when I pull into the driveway and I close my car off into the garage, and then I close that door, the outside world is now outside. And there's no interference from anyone else. It's just unfortunate with the current market situations, how much that costs.
Exactly.
Because it could be 5 years ago, or it could be 15 years ago, where it'd be like, I know buddies who pay what I pay for a 1-1 for their mortgage because they bought a long time ago.
But that's, I think, with the real estate. Now, again, I can't predict real estate, but as far as I know, having been in Orlando since 15 years ago, it's always just goes up. So you're better to buy whenever, because it always goes up.
You sound like the YouTube videos.
Yeah, no, I'm like, no, but dude, I waited. So you know what happened with me, right? And I know we're past 2 hours, so I'll wrap this up quick. But essentially, I was in Orlando. I saw homes that now I can't afford for, like, I'm talking 1/5, 1/8 of their price, and I could have afforded them having a regular job and freelance video on the side easily. It was just me saying yes, and us saying, we can buy a much nicer house somewhere else, and we decide to move. Biggest mistake ever, because the same houses here are now worth, like I said, 8x, 10x, with the house that we bought there maybe 1.5x. Right? It's the way the Orlando real estate market has grown is just absurd. I mean, it is the truth, because the homes that are meant for a normal family can't afford it anymore. But anyway, so I left, and when I came back, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a house. But as soon as I looked at it, the rates were crazy, right? This is right after COVID, and I was like, oh, it has to come down. It's a bubble. But you know what happened? 3 years waiting, it's like, it's only going up. I should have just bought one. So hence why I committed to it. You're right. The interest rates are crazy. The price I paid is crazy for what I bought. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, I'm in a nice neighborhood. My neighbors are nice. My kids are going to good school. I have a place now where we can do this. I wouldn't have been able to do this. And hopefully, the market trends the way it has trended. And then in 5 years, this would have been a good financial decision, and people will say the opposite to me, like, I wish my 1x bedroom costs more than your house does, right? It's the perspective change of where we are. I hope that's the way I would at least say it, that this could be how you look at it now 5 years down the road.
It
to
could,
my situation.
It could,
Or it could come
the
down.
common thing that I hear is like, oh, when it was 2007, right before the crash, and you bought a house, everybody was like, idiot, you paid the highest, overpriced. But if you had bought in 2007 and you look now, you'd go, how are you so smart?
Yeah.
How did you know that it was the right time to buy? When you compare that house price now versus now, and it's like, I kind of have to think of it that way too. But it just sucks that there are eras in between where it's like 50% less.
Yeah,
and I'm like, can I line up for that one?
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, to be real, the only one that's happened was 2008. In Orlando, outside of that, prices have never come really down.
I know buddies who bought in 2020. Yeah. They got their 2.3% interest rate.
Yeah, but that's just interest rate. You can always refinance, though. What I'm saying is, price for a house versus interest rate are two different things. As in, interest rate always come down and low. And to be real, 2.83 interest rate was the lowest ever in history, right? For a house. So it's not like that was normal either.
But I know people who got it. That's
I mean, to be real, I had it. The house I sold, our interest was the 3-something, and that's before COVID, because they were really low during that time. I'm saying even before then, I had a really good interest rate. So, and I wasn't doing something spectacular, is what I'm saying. So, but we're not in that environment anymore. And my thing is, yes, you can wait. I'm not an expert on real estate, but after me having waited years, I was just like, what it achieved for me is more important than the cost. Yes. Is the cost absurd if I break it down? Absolutely. It makes no sense. Like, so my mother is visiting, and she can't even comprehend what I'm paying for. Because this is, to me, I mean, obviously it was renovated. It was nice. But all I have is a regular 4-bedroom house, right? This isn't some spectacular thing, whatever, is my opinion. It's in a decent area, but that's about it. But what I'm paying for it makes no sense because of not only the price, then you add the high interest rate on it. But then the way I look at it is, look, I live here. Everyone is benefit from it. My friends can visit. I can have people come in. We can collaborate. And then hopefully, prices keep going up. And then B, when the interest rates ever come down, and if they do, I can always refinance and get the lower interest rate. So I'm not stuck, or I'm not married to this interest rate for that forever. And if I make right financial decisions, I can pay it off much sooner anyway.
And I'll say this is just my last thought that I've kind of had over the last 6 months. It's just, I'm fortunately in a situation where I can save now. So I'm just often thinking, is that savings going towards a down payment, or is that savings going towards building up stocks for future cash out? Just something very simple, just an index, S&P 500. Let's say I have 30 grand that I'm putting towards a down payment. It'd be like, okay, that's a sizable amount. It's a healthy amount. What if you put 30K into the S&P 500 today, and that was like just one big step on that side? It would probably be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It would probably be
especially
great.
If rent don't climb as they did, because they got really high for a little bit. But I know they're trending down now because, again, it has to. Can it go up? But because people can only afford so much. That's the whole thing. It doesn't matter, what you charge. But anyway, so I know rents are coming down, but as long as rents don't go too high, that could be beneficial. Because again, historically speaking, not again an expert on stocks, S&P 500 has grown roughly about 10%. Year like over the decades or whatever, over the time, basically. So as long as you do a long-term bet, it's a good bet. Short-term, you never know. It's a gamble. But long-term, it's a sensible investment, and compound interest is a bitch. Like, compound interest is awesome. Like, essentially, it just basically, the longer you put it, the bigger you put it, the more return you're going to have. It's amazing is what.
And that's the decision tree I'm in right now. That's the fork is which one do I invest in? I am more inclined to just go into stocks. I have my Roth maxed out every year. I have enough now to have an additional account, and I just want to let the compounding work.
Yeah.
And just be annoyed by hearing the neighbors' conversations and just knowing that this is what that money is going towards. Like,
But you know what you can do? See, again, not a financial channel, but quadplex. If you buy fourplex,
I'm not doing it.
No, because you can rent out the 3 and you can
Hate
live
it.
in one. Why not?
Hate it. Do you
Because
know
that's
me?
a good financial
I'm
decision.
not managing tenants.
Yeah, I mean, true. But if you get good tenants, I mean, no, you don't want to.
Not doing it.
But that I'm saying, financially speaking, though, that seems like a better option because not only do you eliminate your rent from
Yeah.
your expenses,
Yeah.
you can actually finance that FHA because up to 4 units can be financed. So you only have to put 3.5% down. So the rest can be financed, and the other people are paying for
I'm not
your.
denying.
And I know a really good property manager, so you don't have to manage nothing. We can get him to handle all the management, repairs, whatever's needed. You can do really well, is what I'm saying. You,
You
don't
know-
manage that.
You know, when people say like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm built different,"
Yeah, yeah.
I'm built different
Yeah.
in the other way.
Yeah.
Not built for
Yeah.
that.
No, I mean,
I
and that's
don't wanna
fine.
be a
And that's why you
manager.
have multiple options. But I'm saying you don't have to be. There's great property managers that will handle
Yeah,
everything,
It's too
collect
much.
rent. I know somebody even guarantees rent. So if
Mhm.
like for some reason they don't pay, like there's some kind of insurance, you
Yeah.
will get rent. Obviously, you pay a little 10%
Yeah,
fee on it.
it's
but
it's more the mind
options
space.
to care about, right? It's like you have multiple options, and obviously you're gonna pick the best one for
Mhm.
you. Is S&P 500 awesome? Yes. Is eliminating your rent through a quadplex or fourplex awesome? Yes. Is just continuing to rent awesome? Yeah. I think because if the rent is low,
It is.
then yeah, because it's usually with high interest rate, it's cheaper to rent than to buy.
Yeah.
So I guess again, weigh the options and make the best decision. Because nobody can predict the future, but you can look at historically what's happened and make at least a smart decision.
Well, these are the conversations I love having.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it won't be the last.
I know, I love them too. So we went past our time, but David, I could talk hours and hours about you, about everything: finance, business, video production, life in general. So thank you again for coming. Can't wait to do this again. And please tell people where they can find you, follow you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I would say I'm most active on YouTube, David Morefield, and I post blogs with my phone. Just try to show people the perspective that I have. Someone at my level, not necessarily teaching, but just sharing what my perspective is, my journey is, how I think of things, and it's completely different how someone else thinks of things. And then randomly I'll post on Instagram. I post a lot of polls on my Instagram stories because I go, I think like this.
Mhm.
How does everybody else think? So that's where I'm most active. YouTube.
Yeah,
It's
really awesome content. I mean, I don't know how many people don't already follow you, but if for some reason you're watching this and not following David, I highly recommend it. Really great content. And like I said, real content, not made up YouTube content. And so I really love following it. A lot of value in it. And thank you, Mario, again for being on the production desk for us.
Thank you guys. It was a great conversation.
All right.
I
thank
agree.
you. Yeah, me too. I had such a good time. So thank you for watching. Until next episode.